the content being dropped on HBO Max, like all the new Warner Brothers movies. You got Disney Plus dropping bombs like Saddam's. It's kind of shaping up to be a fucking December to remember. But I'll tell you right fucking now, it's a year I want to forget. You know what I mean? Because 2020, as we're entering the fucking final weeks of this fucking shit show, 2020, why don't you go eat a bag of dicks in a fucking dumpster fire, okay? Because I got fucking 2 words for you. No. For the people out there, we just want to maybe have a moment of levity and laughter. I got 6 words for you. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 437 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, also at Casa de Zero, where he now has to wear a mask in his own house, and also the Lair of the Gods. Now, we do another Patreon takeover show today, so what we're going to do is we're going to kick things off with a quick little round of introductions since we don't do that all the time, or we haven't in a while. I know Raven Shadow's pissed about that, and he's going to be even more pissed because we're not doing the proper intros. We're doing quick ones. So, I'm Johnny Wolfenstein. We also have the vulgar guru of horror, Monster Zero. What the fuck is that? We also have Ares, God of War.
Hello.
And also, we have, I'll just do the last part, the Parisian Bruja himself, Michael Raven Shadow.
Babaleo, I feel like I'm coming in like it was edited for content. Like
It was.
Like on like fucking Channel 5. You know, what the fuck?
The rebroadcast.
Edited for time.
Edited for time, yeah.
I'll take the blame for that.
All right, Raven Shadow, why don't you introduce our illustrious takeover co-host for this week?
Thank you very much, Johnny. I'm very excited because once again, we are having our 3rd Patreon takeover. So allow me to introduce our guest co-host. He is a member of our California collective, okay?
Yeah.
You've heard his voicemails, all right? He's a veteran of the Blackout tapes. He's a survivor of Monster Piece Zero Theater, whatever the fuck it's called, all right? This guy is the fucking pimp of Patreon. He's fucking wicked neato. Big ups to our good friend, Carlitos.
Look at him. Look at him. Look at him in all of his glory.
Well, this is awesome, Carlitos. I got to say, man, you've been a friend, a supporter, a listener for a long time, and this is a fucking treat, man. This is definitely not a trick. This is a treat for us to have you joining us on an episode that you picked. You handpicked the films, and now you're here with us. So thanks, man. We really appreciate all your support and everything you've done over the years.
I appreciate you guys keeping me entertained through my long work hours and getting me through the day. That's what it's all about.
Of course, man. We're always happy to help with that. And you've provided us with hours of entertainment as well with your voice messages and just hanging out with us and even with the Patreon stuff that we've been doing. So we appreciate you, my friend. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So Carlitos picked 2 films to talk about this evening. And did he ever pick some doozies? Now we're going to see how these conversations go. There's sure to be interesting ones. But first up, we'll find out why Carlitos picked these films as we get to them throughout the show. But I'll just kind of kick things off here. We're going to be doing Hausu from 1977, the Japanese surrealistic classic that I had not seen until this week. And MZ has been singing its praises for a long time now. And, looking forward to this discussion. It should be a really interesting one. And then we're going to be talking about the Filipino action flick BuyBust, which was on our radar a couple years ago. Never ended up checking it out for whatever reason, and Carlitos brought it to us. He's kind of like bringing us like Santa Claus, bringing us a present, this action film for us to talk about. So we'll be talking about BuyBust as well. We'll be doing that later on in the show. So really looking forward to the show. Been awaiting some of the discussions and just having Carlitos on. So should be a blast. So Raven Shadow, are you fucking ready? Are you lubed up, man?
Oh man, my balls are in my esophagus. I'll tell you that. I'm excited.
Well, was your balls or someone else's balls?
Ooh.
I'm all greased up.
Deep throating over there.
Wow. So Raven Shadow, how was the snow this past weekend?
Oh man, it was a fucking demon hell ride, Johnny. No, it wasn't terrible, but it was the first storm in the New England.
It's always interesting.
It was a second storm.
Aries would know. I trust him.
It was the first storm.
It was the second one.
Second one.
We had one in October, remember?
Yeah, just before Halloween.
That was last year.
No, that was this year.
This year.
Oh
No,
my God.
That
He
was
doesn't even
last
know what
month.
year
That
it
was
is.
2 months ago.
You actually don't remember what happened a little over a month ago?
Raven Shadow, I know this has been a trying year, but come on, man.
All right, well, I forgot. I got medical problems. You know?
You got medical problems.
Yeah, fucking dialed deep with dementia. You know what I mean? I got problems. But you're right, Aries. So right now, my yard looks like fucking like a Hoth playset. If like an AT-AT came in and like stepped on shit. I got fucking trees down. I got bushes fucked up. It's fucking heavy snow. And I was pissed off. It was a fucking Saturday, right? So cool. Hey, a snowstorm on a Saturday. Fine. I was going to hang out with Marion. But I still had to work the shop. And I called the shop like, hey, listen, do you really need me to come in today? And like, yep, business as usual. And I'm like, okay, well, the rain's now white. And it's starting a hell of a lot earlier. And my job on Saturdays is pretty much crowd control, right? You know, with people coming in, like I'm fucking bouncing. And there was no need to go in at all. We had 7 customers in the store at one time was the max. And it really pissed me off.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Raven Shadow.
I'm sorry.
So you got paid to do nothing.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I put the back issues back. I hung like some fucking autographs, you know, some Bruins and Celtic stuff. It was fine. I'm just saying that my time could have been spent elsewhere better. And yes, I'm not complaining about earning, you know, some dollars. But I'm just saying, like, it could have been, you know.
Home getting high.
Yeah.
You should have at least taken an edible with you, man, or something, you know?
Yeah.
No, I did after shoveling because it was really hard. It was rain. It was very hard, like ice the following day. I did for the first time partake in the CDB stuff. CBD.
CDB?
CDB.
Are you working in Excel? Are you working in a spreadsheet?
Bell Biv DeVoe, ABC, CBD.
Oh, yeah, and how'd that go for you?
I think better.
Better?
Better than before.
Better than before.
Yeah. I took some CBD and half of a John Moxley, and it was good.
All right. Raven Shadow, I think, Carlitos is here with us. I can see Asia, his daughter, who has been on many shows before, saying banana fingers. I think it'd be only right if you got a banana and ate it on air.
Yeah.
I don't have
Oh, very convenient.
Show us how you became banana fingers.
Yeah, very convenient.
There's
funny.
bananas in Hausu. We'll probably be talking about that later.
Yeah, there's watermelons, there's bananas, there's
A whole
cats.
pile.
You want one of those watermelons, Raven Shadow?
Ooh. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, it's awesome. She definitely has busted my chops over the years, which makes me chuckle.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. So this is awesome. I'm glad to have Carlitos here with us. And Carlitos, I guess tell us I know you don't have your own show, but you listen to a lot of podcasts, and you're very active, and you're a big fan of action films. So for people who don't know you, I don't know, just tell us a little bit about yourself. If you want, just tell us some of the flicks that you really dig, some of your favorite films, some of your favorite genres, subgenres, things like that. Just give you a few moments. Just say whatever you want, man.
Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of genre films, horror films, action films, and so I just go to the podcasts I listen to. You guys weren't the first, but you guys are now at top of the list, just kind of making me laugh with all your crazy stories and all that stuff. But yeah, this has also been a great community to talk about these type of films and all that stuff. And that's really about it. I'm not famous or nothing. I am developing a podcast with a friend of mine right now. We're
Awesome.
still discussing ideas.
Nice.
So I think we locked onto something, at least as part of the show. So I think it'd be interesting. It actually has nothing to do with film but still interesting nonetheless, because it has something to do with that Facebook post about my dreams that I recently put.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So I'll just let that be the carrot dangling into it for now until we get that going.
Well, we're always, we always love seeing people do this. And, along the throughout the years, we had people help us. We've helped other people, and if there's anything that if you guys need any help getting things up and running, obviously, feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to help out. But I'm curious to see what you come up with, man. Sounds like
absolutely
sounds like it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So awesome! Looking forward to chatting about these films. MZ, you're not feeling too good.
No, I'm not.
What the fuck's going on, man?
I don't know, man.
You sound
I have
stuffy.
No idea. It started yesterday. Right now, just some slight aches and pains.
Uh-oh.
Some slight aches and pains. I'm a little warm up here.
A little warm down there.
I'm hot down there, baby. and a little bit of slight congestion, but I mean, this could be a cold. The weather kind of changed pretty quick on me, so that'll do it sometimes. I had a flu shot last week. That may play a part in it. I really don't know. So I mean, there's a lot of avenues where this thing can be leading down. Right now, I feel. I mean, it's beating me up right now, but.
All right, so there is a possibility
I'm trying.
We may lose MZ during the show. Just letting people know
Yeah.
if he if he starts feeling kind of crummy all over again. I just want folks to know that we may lose MZ, but hopefully you feel fine. You're able to manage and stick with us, because I definitely would like to get your thoughts on both these films. But
yeah.
Because of that, and also because I think that there will be more discussion about it, we're gonna talk about Hausu first, because I want to make sure that MZ is involved in that. You've been raving about the film for a very long time, so we'll make sure that we'll make sure that you're involved in that one for sure. So, Aries, how was the nor'easter for you?
I got some overtime. Made some money.
Are you gonna buy Raven Shadow? Are you gonna buy Raven Shadow a new plow?
Please.
You went out.
he
Worked. I mean, you could have stayed home and gotten high.
His name's not Raven Shadow. At least he worked Raven Shadow. Wasn't putting back issues away.
Yeah.
Listen. You got time to lean. That's what you got to do. Yeah, I did that.
Oh, did you lean against the sink in the bathroom like MC does?
I didn't do.
So, Raven Shadow, in the intro, were you referencing all the new Disney shows coming out? Is that kind of what you were referencing, or just in general?
No. I was talking to I have a chat with Rocky and Marion, and Rocky was very excited. So then I looked at your post, Johnny, on the Force and Sensitive feed.
Yeah.
Available every Wednesdays. No, they record every Wednesday.
Yep. Record Wednesdays, drop Thursday.
Yeah. I listen. And yeah, there's like fucking like 10 new fucking Star Wars shows, 10 new Marvel programs, and some Pixar joints, all kinds of content. Right?
There's a Marvel's animated What If.
I saw that teaser a few weeks ago.
It's coming soon. Yep. New Fantastic Four movie is coming.
Oh God!
Oh,
Again.
wow.
Are they going to get it right this time?
Hope
Well,
so.
it's under Marvel now, ain't it?
True. Yeah. I mean, that should be a difference maker.
Yeah.
We also have Marvel announced, let's see, Secret Invasion and 4 other new Disney Plus series for the MCU.
Wait, Secret Invasion?
Yep.
Live action?
Let me see here. I'm just looking real quick at it. I think so, yeah. It's confirmed to be a show based on Marvel Comics' Secret Invasion, starring Nick Fury and the Skrull agent Talos as they deal with a secret Skrull invasion on Earth. There's Ironheart.
Ironheart. Oh, that's the Tony Stark, the female protege.
Yeah, Riri Williams. Yep. Armor Wars. Do you know what that is?
Well, I know it was actually. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Don Cheadle will return as War Machine in a series based on Marvel Comics' Armor Wars.
That was my favorite Iron Man series as a kid, man.
Really?
When I first read Iron Man, when he had the awesome, the Silver Centaurian armor, the red and silver gear, and in the book, basically Stark found out that all these armored characters, heroes and villains, have all stolen a portion of his technology. So Stark goes out. He's like, you know what? They're not fucking committing crimes, using my shit. So he basically goes to take out anybody that uses armor. So he starts out going against like Crimson Dynamo or like Titanium Man. But he also crosses paths with the Guardsmen, who are armored like sentries who would guard like the vault, which is a giant the Marvel's like villain prison. And he even came into blows with Captain America at that time, and Stark became like a wanted man. But it was in those days when it was Tony Stark's bodyguard that was doing it. But that was a great fucking series. How they can do it without Tony?
Well, they'll just have War Machine do that.
Yeah, finds out that, which makes sense, which would be fair. But yeah, if you can find that trade, and there was a Armor Wars too, but that is my favorite fucking Iron Man series of all time.
Wow.
I was gonna say, wasn't there a new actor cast as Iron Man recently? That might have been a joke or something, but I'm not sure if I saw that somewhere.
Well, I did see. I think
wasn't like Tom Cruise or something.
Yeah, like I think I saw something like that. Like Tom Cruise might actually play the character in some.
Oh, that's right.
Something I don't know.
Yeah,
it's the multiverse. He's playing Future. And
okay, that's what I saw. Okay.
Yeah, which was a bad one. I think like Arno. I think he was actually the Iron Man of like 2020 or 2040. He like was a villain. Back when that was the future.
So we got a few people hanging out. We'll get back to that in just a second. But we got D. Rook is hanging out.
Yes.
He says MZ is like Vestron's not a fucking costume; it's a way of life. Rocking
Goddamn right, brother.
Rocking the Vestron video shirt there. MZ, what's your favorite Vestron movie?
Oh Christ! I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea. Probably, maybe Slaughter High.
All right.
Maybe Slaughter High. There's a lot of good ones out there, but maybe Slaughter High.
All right. And D-Rook also says Aries is like, hey, fuck you, this is apple juice. Well, actually, you don't really hide the fact that it's whiskey.
Yeah, apple juice coming in a weird bottle like this. I don't know.
That's
whole
not,
country it's different.
Yeah, that's not apple juice. All right, so what else we got here? We got, I don't know, this is ridiculous. Like I can't even go through all these. There's going to be a live action Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Uh-oh.
which is interesting. I guess James Gunn is going to direct that while they're doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So there's also going to be a series called I Am Groot, which will be a series of shorts featuring new characters from around the Marvel Universe.
So the script on that will be one line. Just one sentence.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking you can't have a Groot spinoff. It's
I am Groot. Let's see. So apparently Marvel announced that they will not recast Black Panther after Chadwick Boseman's passing. Makes sense.
It's hard, man. It's hard to come into fucking that role after him. But I think it's still a shame that we don't get to see that character live on, at least in this current series or mythology, at least. I mean, like, it's a shame. Now, I wouldn't want to be the guy that fucking takes it over, but is it wrong to say the show kind of has to go on in a weird way?
But there's so many other characters they can do. They don't need to bring. I mean, granted, that is a good character, but he brought it to life.
Yeah.
And I think, out of respect, you find other ways to tell your story.
Fair.
Agreed.
Yeah, there you go. So
Great.
I'm going to run down the Star Wars ones real quick. There's a lot of them. There is a couple coming out based in the Mandalorian timeline. There is going to be Rangers of the New Republic, which is a new series from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, set during the time of The Mandalorian. And there will also be a series based on Ahsoka Tano, which is fucking awesome. There is already announced Cassian Andor series based on the character from Rogue One, Obi-Wan series, and they just announced that Hayden Christensen is reprising his role as Darth Vader. How do you feel about that, Raven Shadow?
Why?
Yes.
Why?
There's going to be a Lando show.
Or has
The Lando Show.
Yes.
some community?
It's a talk show.
I'd watch that.
Well, hello. What do we have here?
Look at what we have here.
This episode is sponsored by Colt 45.
This man came all the way from Endor.
Well, hello.
Now that's a show I would watch.
Yeah. I want fucking Lobot, like fucking John, like who's the
Oh
guy?
my God.
Ed-
Yeah. Lobot will be like Conan O'Brien's sidekick. What's his name? Andy.
Andy Richter.
Yeah, he'd be the Andy Richter. Lobot would be Andy Richter.
and he would totally have the Snice Noodles would be his band, right? He would get them.
Oh yeah, Size Noodles definitely. And by the way, you were looking for the name Donald Glover.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is going to be Donald Glover.
Fucking egg. That dude's fucking. He should be everybody.
He should be everybody. Now playing Michael Raven Shadow, Donald Glover.
I would be so handsome.
You
and
would be.
smart.
You wouldn't mess up your words all the time.
Oh, mayhem.
Mayhem.
Man.
So yeah, new Lando series. It's unfortunately not going to be called the Lando Show.
Oh,
There's going to be a new animated show called The Bad Batch, which they've already announced, but got to see a little clip of that, which is kind of cool. Let's see. There is an anime anthology of shorts called Visions, and there's also another thing called A Droid Story, which will introduce a new droid, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Patty Jenkins is doing Rogue Squadron, which is fucking ridiculous. They didn't say if it was a movie or a show. I assume it's a movie though. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot of other like crazy stuff coming out. So,
well, I saw that. I saw that. I don't know how true it is. I didn't follow up on it, but Taika.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
Taika Waititi.
that's definitely happening. Yeah, they
it's-
announced that today. Yeah, I mean, they already kind of hinted at it, but it's
Yeah.
definite. Yeah,
It's definitely happening.
which that's a Star Wars film that MZ would be curious about.
I would be. I dig that dude, man.
What we do in Dagobah.
Yeah, what we do in Dagobah. D-Rook also says Wolfie is like, this voice goes higher even if I'm just podcasting in the dark. We got Marion hanging out. D-Rook says, I miss you guys. Miss you too, buddy.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't in Maryland, we probably wouldn't have even seen each other, even if we were down the fucking road from each other like we used to be. So, yeah, so lots of stuff. I mean, we've talked about this in the past, but it is kind of a fucking embarrassment of riches to be a nerd right now, isn't it?
Oh,
The
yeah.
nerds
much.
right now don't know the suffering we had when we were growing up.
Yeah,
Word.
it's like the Patriots, like living through the Patriots of the 1980s, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then if you're like 20 years old or something like that, you just think that the New England Patriots just win all the time, right?
Well, and not so much now, but still, there was a really good fucking run.
yeah. But yeah, it is kind of an embarrassment of riches. It's kind of ridiculous at how many fucking things that there are out there for nerds and for us who like genre stuff. And even now in a fucking pandemic, they're not really producing a ton of new stuff, but there's just so much that's out there. I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches of stuff that we can watch now. Whether or not like the way it's heading is a good direction, that's another story, because at the time when people were cutting the cord, so to speak, for cable or in lieu of cable and getting streaming services, it was like, oh cool, I can pay $9 for Hulu or whatever, and then you can watch TV the day after it happens, and then you can watch Netflix for like whatever it was, $10 a month at a few years ago. But now it's like, okay, now you need Netflix, you need Hulu, you need Prime, you need Disney Plus, you need HBO Max, you need CBS, you need all these fucking services, and just to be able to keep up with the shows you want to watch, it's getting more expensive than it was with cable. And Raven Chat, I know you don't like cable. You're like, actually, I love cable because that's how I watch everything.
Yeah, I put the TV on and it's already on. No, I love cable. I just don't want to pay for it. But no, I mean it's cool. I mean, really, truly, like you got to have Netflix, right? You got to have apparently now Disney Plus. I probably will pull the trigger, but there's also too. You can also share with your friends.
Well, technically that's not allowed, and if you get caught, both people end up without the shows.
Actually, you can. Netflix allows you to have 5 different accounts, which you can share with your family and friends. Prime also does that. HBO Max does that. Disney Plus does that. So most of the services actually do allow it. So yeah, I think that is helpful for sure, and they're probably not really hurting because of that. So yeah, that's a nice little touch, though, I think. So Raven Chat, are you going to cut the cord and go streaming or what?
Yeah, no, I'm working on. I've got some people.
You got some people.
Holy Jesus!
Yeah, I got some stuff in the works for 2021.
What do you have in the works?
I'm just gonna figure some things out and get rid of a few things. And I don't need fucking 3 fucking cable boxes, so I'm getting rid of 2. I'm gonna keep the 1.
Great. So you're going to get rid of 2 cable boxes, so that'll save you $15.
Yeah.
Overall, it's small dollars.
And you're one guy. Why do you need 3 boxes? Why do you have 3 boxes?
Well, there was a time it was more than one guy. There isn't a previous.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what, a decade ago.
Maybe almost 4 years ago. That's not the point, though. Okay.
Do you know how to cancel service, Raven Shadow?
Not really. No, I made a phone call. Yeah, so I can. I did. I have a plan. So I'm going to get rid of the 2. And with the savings, my $15 savings, I'm going to get the HBO to the max.
The HBO to the max.
How do you function?
Barely.
How do you function?
Barely, yeah. I can understand that.
Really good mom.
Yeah, but even barely functioning is still functioning. I'm still trying to figure out how he does that.
All right, well, listen, COVID kid. At least I ain't
Oh my
fucking.
God.
Oh,
I fucking don't have a fucking. No, I won't be very concerned about you. You're that older demographic that we're all concerned about.
I'm sorry, for some reason, when you said Cobra Kid, COVID Kid, all I can picture was the Cobra Kai logo with a mask on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm COVID Kai.
Speaking of, I know we have some fans of Cobra Kai on this broadcast. Did you guys see the trailer for season 3?
Yes, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, I had a feeling you would have checked it out, at least, MZ.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't finished 2 yet, so I didn't want to watch the
yeah.
trailer.
Makes
No,
sense.
I'm
dude.
staying away from any potential spoilers.
Yeah.
Have you seen the first 2 seasons yet, Carlos?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So
I
you
love
just
the show.
you just don't want to see anything. Gotcha.
Yeah, Asia
I went-
loves the show.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, actually, that's interesting because I had actually wondered if it bridged the different kind of generational gap because obviously most of us grew up with Karate Kid and love the movies, and so this is a nostalgia kick. But obviously, it works for a different generation if your daughter's enjoying it, right?
Well, she absolutely loves it. I'm starting to show her the movies now, and she's loving the movies. So there's,
Awesome.
She doesn't care about the time gap as far as that concerned. She
Awesome.
just likes,
That's great.
That's really
Yeah.
That's great.
That's really cool because I think it really works in both ways because new viewers who don't really know hadn't seen the movies or haven't had them in their lives for 30 plus years or whatever it's been can still get into it because I think it's written really well and it obviously doesn't target a younger generation, but it appeals to a younger generation with the characters that they've created. So,
I think they've
cool.
done a great job appealing to the nostalgia and the new generation.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the music and the actors involved and it's an amalgamation of both coming together and it's blended so well, much better than I ever anticipated, to be honest.
Yeah, they really found that balance. And now that, obviously, they had filmed season 3 prior to being bought by Netflix. So, obviously, it was in the can before they went to Netflix. So, I don't know if they would have added additional money or done any reshoots or anything like that. So, it'll be interesting to see moving forward if it gets to season 4, season 5, more.
I did hear that it was picked up for 2 more.
Okay, so they've already picked it up. Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Nice.
Because I think with season 2, when both seasons dropped on Netflix a few months back, I remember you guys were raving about it because MZ and all you guys were raving about it. So obviously it and I think it was the most watched show at the time in like the country, in like all of streaming and also on cable. So that's I'd say that's definitely worthy of being picked up for a couple seasons at least. So yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to it, and if we can get through the end boss that is December 2020, we'll get to 2021.
Yeah, what is it? January 8th, I think it's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming soon in just a few weeks. So yeah, that'll be awesome. Looking forward to that. And it looks like and they're bringing. Oh, actually, I don't want to say anything because Carlito says he didn't want to see the trailer, so I'm not gonna say anything.
And
Yeah, don't
Aries has,
don't say it.
Aries
Sorry
has
about that.
Yeah,
Well-
and I'm not done yet. I still got a couple episodes left.
Well, get on that shit, Aries.
I'm busy. We had snow.
Aren't they half-hour episodes?
That's why I'm so deep in season 2 already because I can watch it quick.
Look, Carlitos.
The hour shows like really hang me up.
Look, Carlitos. So we're doing December Cram Jam. Aries can't handle the shit. So Aries isn't mad at Carlitos, so he must not have hated the movies because I think he would be. He'd be a little
I
angry
tend to
and
go easy
ornery.
on our supporters.
Oh, that's true. You do. Yeah, that's fair.
But in all fairness, when you deserve to be yelled at, I will yell at you. I don't know if you realize that.
I brought me some bourbon with this. So
Yeah, there you go.
let's do it.
Oh, shit. All right, so let's start to wrap up because I am really curious about talking about these films. So we'll wrap up the introduction here and talk about, first off, I want to talk about the Patreon. So obviously this is a Patreon takeover show. Carlitos is a Terminator. He's in our Terminator tier. Therefore, he gets to do this once a year. So, and actually we have a couple spots open still if people want to get in on the Terminator tier. They want to come on to Trick or Treat Radio. They want to program the show. You can pick, you can pick a film and a topic for discussion. You can pick 2 films, and then you can come be a co-host with us for the entirety of the show. And there's a few slots left before we start to kind of run back around and start over from the top. And we have a couple more Patreon shows coming up over the next couple months. And then if we have some other people sign up, we'll also add you into the mix as well. So if anyone is interested in doing what Carlitos is doing, there is some slots available to do that. So take a look at the Patreon, patreon.com/trickortreatradio. In addition to that, we also offer exclusive Patreon audio episodes every month. And as I mentioned in our Discord community, the Patreon show for this month is delayed a little bit because of the storm. We were supposed to record over the weekend, and it just wasn't in the cards. MZ lost power for a little while. One of the days, Raven Shadow had to fucking dig himself out of Hoth. So we put it off, and what I did was I released the Monsterpiece Theater Movie Club #2, which Carlitos was involved in, and we talked about Castle Freak. So that is available for all of our Patreon supporters. We typically do it in the top 2 tiers, but we decided since we were going to be late with an episode, we'd put that out for everyone on Patreon. So you can go ahead and listen to that. We had a really great discussion about Castle Freak, the Stuart Gordon film from 1995, not the remake. So you can check that out. It's available live. And then I think what we're going to do for the next Patreon show for December, I think MZ was leaning towards this, and we asked our Patreon supporters, and we had some comments that they also wanted to see us or hear us talk about Christmas horror. So I think that's going to be the topic. We got some other stuff that we might have up our sleeve, try some new stuff on the Patreon exclusives. So that's going to be happening this weekend. And then as soon as it happens, we'll be dropping it out there for you guys to check out. So we also have the Discord community. There's the Blackout tapes, which have been a fucking blast, Raven Shadow. You're thinking about the next one, right?
Yeah, no, stay tuned. There's some announcements. There's 2 dates coming up in December that are very, very important. We're gonna be getting toe up from the floor up.
Well, I know your birthday is in December.
Oh, that's fucking right, Johnny.
And so is Jesus' birthday. Yeah, Carlitos. Yeah. When is yours? It's coming up. It's coming up like tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you.
Bud.
Thank you.
This is also a Patreon takeover and a fucking celebration.
Yeah.
It is.
Aries, come on, take a sip for Carlitos.
Here we go.
Toast.
Salute.
There you go. I got my water.
You got your vegan water. There you go.
Vegan water.
Yes, I only drink the finest.
Cactus.
So if you guys want to join our Patreon community, we have a great community of folks. And we're always trying to add more. So if you guys have any ideas for stuff that you want us to do with the Patreon, please by all means recommend. But we do have the Discord community that we have set up. We have some chat rooms. We've got the Blackout tapes, which we happen periodically. We do the Monsterpiece Theater Movie Club, which happens every 2 months. That we're doing that now, and all kinds of stuff. So we got the exclusive episodes, and also you could co-host a show and program it. So check it out, patreon.com/trickortreatradio. And we'd appreciate any support you guys can give. In addition, there's a few other ways you can help support us. Raven Shadow, you've heard of Amazon, right? Use the Amazons?
The Amazons.
To use the Amazon.
God.
From
Brazil.
Well, yeah. Why? Yeah. Why did I even
Johnny,
do this?
you can't complain about this. You did this.
I know I did. I thought it would go better. I thought it would go better.
Well, you should have known better.
Yeah.
Listen. Pick ups to Brazilians.
Pick ups to Brazilians. You gonna get a Brazilian Raven Shadow?
I'm too fucking hairy, sir. It would be splash and burn that shit.
Plus, that would look really weird just getting it in one spot for you, right?
Yeah, it's not good. There's a lot going on down there.
Raven Shadow's Picarding, and I mean Aries is Picarding because of Raven Shadow,
and he's pouring a big old drink.
Yeah, and another drink. There you go, Raven Shadow. He did quit smoking, but you force him to drink way more than he ever has.
Well, to be fair, he owes me.
Fuck you.
All right, so apparently Raven Shadow's never heard of Amazon. I mention it on the show every fucking week, but he doesn't know what it is.
It's funny. It's where the Wonder Woman lives in Themyscira.
Oh,
it's also
my God.
Okay, cut his mic. Move on.
Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to cut just his anymore, which is the worst thing ever.
Cut the feed.
Okay, well, I could do that, actually. I do have control of his feed.
That would be the worst thing, people not being able to see him.
For him, yeah. Not
Yes.
for everyone else.
Oh, yeah, for everyone else, it'd be a joy.
Evil Corny says, wax on, hair off, Raven Shadow.
Oh.
Going back to the Karate Kid.
There you go. Tight.
Bringing it all back.
And
So,
look at Carlitos. He's like already had enough of Raven Shadow shit.
we're only 40 minutes in.
Oh, is this what it's like? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, see, he's Picarding. There we
Welcome
go.
to the club.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Welcome to the club.
All right. So
You paid for it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. So everyone but Raven Shadow has heard of Amazon. And we have a link on our website, trickortreatradio.com. Scroll down, look for the Amazon logo. You click it. It's going to bring you to Amazon. It's going to input our personal affiliate link code. So everything you purchase in that session will get attributed to us. We'll get a tiny little percentage. It doesn't cost them any extra, Michael Raven Shadow.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
At least you know that. You may not know what Amazon is, but at least you know the spiel.
Doesn't know why the lights are on. He just knows they're on.
It's on.
I don't know how it works, but the lights are on.
Yeah. Raven Shadow has a clapper. Clap on, clap off.
It's Fapper. But I know.
Yeah, it's you. So if you guys are, you're buying gifts on Amazon, let's say you get some Amazon gift cards, and you're going to buy stuff, just go ahead and use our link. We get a tiny cut. Doesn't cost anything else for you, but we get a little cut for sending you to Amazon. And finally, go to trickortreatradio.com, click on the store, and there you will find some digital content. We got the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio, volumes 1 through 3. So Carlitos has been with us for a long time, but if you're new to the show, if you've only listened to maybe the last 100 episodes or whatever, we are now on 437. So there's a lot of content out there. So if you want to go ahead, you don't have the time to listen to all 437 episodes. Actually, how many Raven Chat, how many episodes do you think there are total?
Lots,
Because we got zeros, we got the Halloween, we got the top 13 year-end shows, right?
It's Evil, extra special Halloween specials, and then the Patreon stuff. So probably at like 700.
Actually, if we count everything, I think we have 479. So that's basically like 62 extra episodes, including the Patreon and all the extra shows we've done, the Star Wars ones, the Halloween, New Year's shows, all that stuff. And actually, let me see how. Holy shit, we have 1,463 hours of content.
So how many days is that?
All right, let me see.
A lot.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Thank you, Carlito.
Well, you can actually round up. I'm going to go 1464. How many hours in a day, Raven Shadow?
24.
So that is 61 days of content. Exactly 61 days. So you could start on episode 0 listening to Trick or Treat Radio, have it play for 61 straight days without turning it off.
Don't do that. You'll go insane. But
imagine the dreams you'd have with our voices in your ears while you sleep.
I heard that's what the like FBI's doing for like the David Koresh motherfuckers, like Waco, and the people like
they put our show on.
They put our show on.
Big speakers just blasting Trick or Treat Radio.
Damn, we surrender.
So instead of waterboarding now, they use Trick or Treat Radio torture.
Trick or Treat Radio, slightly better than waterboarding.
That might be the episode title. Oh shit! Slightly better than waterboarding.
It'd be one of those critic quotes.
Yeah.
Slightly better than waterboarding. Rumor or something like that.
We have one best long form podcast. Maybe we'll get the something about podcasts that most likely turn to waterboarding. Trick or Treat Radio.
Hey, better than waterboarding.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Most humane form of torture.
Evil Corny says, broadcast of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll take that.
Sure to say that.
Yeah, exactly. So 61 days of content. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, man, that blows my mind. So I feel really old all of a sudden. So, yes, 61 days. So if you guys don't have the time to listen to all that bullshit, you can just listen to the greatest hits, volumes 1 through 3. It's got Raven Shadow. It's got some of the highlights, the lowlights, the midlights, and what else?
The nightlights?
The light brights?
The light brights.
The Christmas lights.
Christmas lights. Everything in between, Raven Shadow. Come on, man.
Let's get the Winston lights.
The Winston lights. Yeah, you're not supposed to have those. Not supposed to have
Let's get the
those.
Winston lights and Rapungi nights. Rapungi Vice.
Well, and around here recently, we got the Northern Lights, so.
What was it? Rapongi Nights?
Rapungi nights.
Winston Lights and Rapongi Nights. Oh, man. Remember that Rapongi Vice when we sang that in the fucking old studio?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Listen to all tonight.
All right, let's wrap this shit up because we got some movies to talk about. What?
We should have wrapped up like 10 minutes ago.
I know, we should have. All right, so those are the ways you can help support the show. All of it goes towards paying for, we got endless amounts of fees. We got podcast hosting, we got website hosting, we have all the subscriptions that we use. We use XSplit, pay for streaming services, internet. I got the best internet that I can possibly get here in Maryland so I can broadcast the show. All these things adds up, and we're doing it free. Completely free, and that's why people like Carlitos are so fucking awesome because he helps keep the show running. Literally, he helps keep the show running. So thank you. Since Carlitos is here, thank you, Carlitos. We appreciate all you've done for us, my friend.
Welcome.
And everyone else out there as well. So we appreciate you. All right, Raven Shadow. So you sit down to watch two fucking movies. Two movies with subtitles. One from Japan and one from the Philippines. What do you do to prepare for these fucking movies?
It's fucking challenging, Johnny. I didn't know what the fuck people were saying. I didn't know what the words were. You know what I mean? There was shoveling involved. It's cold in New England. You know what I mean? But I get excited because I love the Patreon takeover episodes. I love all people who will check us out, but the Patreons.
Hey, chicks, check us out. Little weird science joke for you. There you go.
Terrible. That's a fucking movie. But no, I get very excited. We're still in a pandemic, and that's less exciting. But I won an award. I won an award today, Johnny.
Oh, what did you win an award for?
I did. I won an award for being on
Was
site.
slightly better than waterboarding.
Yeah. Waterboarding couldn't attend, so I got it. But no, we got an award for being on site when everyone else was home, being safe. So we got some
So
frontline awards.
you got awarded for putting yourself in harm's way.
Yes.
You got a participation trophy.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
No.
are you an essential worker, Raven Shadow?
Yeah, which is fucked up.
That's pretty.
Well, like
That's
I'm with you, MZ. Like, why am I fucking essential? But no, I get excited. So yeah, I did that. Check is in the mail. Well, we got Carlitos here. I'm very excited. And we're gonna talk some crazy 70s Asian weirdness, and then some. It's gonna be fucked up. So you better believe I had to fucking strap on.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's a blast. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
And, Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio is Trick or Treat Radio.
No. Don't say that.
Like, you really put us under.
It's like swearing in church. Huh?
You just jinxed us.
Yeah. You put a lot on our shoulders just now.
Well, we can strive for
you
greatness.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
you really are. You got a great show.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
I could be standing outside a woman's prison in a fistful of 50s and a bouquet of dildos, and no woman would come near me.
Did you say a bouquet of dildos?
We have returned. Did you say a bouquet of dildos? That still fucking makes me laugh every single time. Oh God! All right.
See, Raven Shadow still didn't show up.
Oh, well, this is the norm.
Yeah.
We're all back. We wait for him for at least 5 minutes. Try to kill some time, but then we end up giving up. So. All right, I'm going to run down the information about Hausu, this film from 1977, also known as House, as you might expect, is not rated. It is 88 minutes comedy horror, and it's almost kind of like it's almost difficult to call it comedy for me. I guess we'll get into that a little bit while we talk about it. But this film was directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi. And it is written by Chiho Katsura, and it stars Kimiko Ikagami, Miki Jimbo, Kumiko Oba, Ai Matsubara, Maiko Sato, Eriko Tanaka, Masao Miyako, Kiyohiko Ozaki, Saho Sasazawa, and as the watermelon farmer, Issei Kobayashi. And the synopsis, I feel like this film is very difficult to synopsize, but this is a good way to do it. A schoolgirl and 6 of her classmates travel to her aunt's country home, which turns out to be haunted. That's simply put, I guess, one way to put it. All right, so Carlitos, I'm going to start with you, man. What made you decide to pick this film? And also, if you want to give while you're talking about that, if you want to give some real quick impressions of why you chose it.
Well, in the words of EF Contentment, why not? Or why indeed? The reason I picked it was pretty easy pick. In previous episode, probably this year, that I heard that you mentioned that you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
And I know MZ did. I thought maybe Raven Shadow may have said he did, but apparently he didn't. So being the type of movie that it is crazy and is bizarre and just out there, and I thought it was an easy pick. It was the first one to come in my mind when I was told I could pick which movie to pick. And but as far as my initial thoughts, for one thing, I'm surprised that this has a Criterion disc.
Yeah.
So such a crazy, but that's what I bought it. I bought it as a blind buy. Yeah, I have that same one. And and I was like, okay, let's check this out. And I heard it was pretty wild, and it didn't disappoint. That's for sure.
When was the first time you saw it, Carlitos?
Actually, a couple years ago when the Blu-ray came out.
Okay,
actually.
Cool. So, yeah, so this is one that we've been talking about for a little bit. MZ has actually for several years. I think MZ said you guys got to check out Hausu. You got to check it out. And while we were doing the film commentaries for the Patreon shows, we were talking about what we're going to do next. I think the last one we did was it Summer School or Weird Science? I think it was Summer School.
I think it was Summer School.
Yeah, so I think that was the last film commentary that we did, because it's really easy to do the film commentaries when everyone is in the same location. When we're not, then we're dealing with potential sync issues, or if someone is a little off or whatever, internet cuts out, whatever. There's a bunch of different things that could happen. So we haven't done them recently. But as we started talking about what the next film commentary was going to be before the pandemic hit, Hausu kept coming up as, this would be fun to do. This would be ridiculous to do a commentary of. And that still could potentially happen down the road, because, seeing it and discussing it is one thing, but doing a commentary could be another. So yes, I was really curious about the film, and I had been hearing about it for years, but had just never gotten around to seeing it. And MZ, what I guess you can hold off on the discussion, but how long ago did you see this film, and kind of what are some of the reputation about this film?
First time I saw it was maybe about 5 years ago when I did a blind buy on the Blu-ray. I've heard so much about it. Everyone was wearing shirts of the logo, the image that's on the cover.
Yep.
They're on T-shirts. Everybody's got them. I never heard of it before, so I figured, okay, you know what? I'll just go in on a blind buy and I'll pick it up. And like Carlitos says, it certainly doesn't disappoint. What was the second question?
Just some of the reputation about the film, because obviously you heard about it.
Yeah, I heard that it was completely batshit crazy, that you've never seen anything like it. I mean, you take that with a grain of salt, when you hear somebody say something like that. But this is an unheard of film, to me, an unheard of film. I never heard of it before. it's Japanese. The Japanese know how to do things right, man. I've been saying that for years, haven't I?
Yes.
I've been saying it for years.
Well, I think
So-
I agree. I tend to agree. I love
You put
Japanese
those
snacks.
you put those two together. You put those two pieces of criteria together, and you got to have something that definitely has to have my interest.
The funny thing
And,
is, I think for one
yeah.
of the longest running sort of like things that you've been doing on the Trick or Treat Radio group is Reasons I Love Japan. Like you've been doing that since like almost the beginning of the group starting, and every like I don't know, couple weeks, couple months, pop up, you post something else, from Japan.
Yeah, why? I now put up like a certain number, some random number.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. Like number 5,011th reason why Japan's the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
And it'll be some batshit crazy TV show, movie scene, a new product coming out, something unusual, like having to do with like maybe an amusement park or something like that, or a museum. It's just, they just know how to do it right, and they never disappoint me, ever, ever, ever. And I love them for it.
All of Japan.
So
He loves the whole
Yeah.
fucking country.
I do. I'd like to go there one of these days.
All right, so we have 2 people who have seen the film before and 3 that have not. So this should make for an interesting discussion. I'm actually kind of curious. Ravenshot, I know you watched this over the weekend. Give me some impressions, man.
I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know, because I remember seeing that fucking like weird image looking like the fucking Philly Fanatic, on the box art.
Looks more like
Gritty.
Gritty,
Yeah.
I was gonna say gritty.
I meant
look like Gritty.
Yeah. I didn't fucking know, man. And I actually thought it was gonna go a different way, like even like just I don't know, maybe more like Sick and Twisted. But like I guess quick capsule take is like, let's take the cast of Facts of Life and put them in Suspiria. And
that's not bad. It's not bad. You're not wrong.
Actually, I like that description.
Like a very special episode of Facts of Life when they go to fucking Japan, and Mrs. Garrett's not there, and it's just
where's
fucking,
Tootie?
Yeah, it was Tootie. Yo, Kung Fu is my fucking dog.
I knew it.
Would that be Joe from the Facts of Life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Aries.
Yeah.
I had to think with Joe, which maybe in real life and fake life. But no, I like Joe more than Blair. He was a bad girl. She rode a bike. And I love
Bad girl rode a bike.
Yeah. I like the Joe, the Nancy McKeon. Right?
I think that was her.
All right, stay on target.
Yeah.
Almost there.
Almost there. Rogue Squadrons. Stay on target.
Fucking yeah. So Facts of Life meets Suspiria. Facts of Life goes to Suspiria.
All right, I can get with that. I'm down with that. It's funny. I didn't think Facts of Life, but I did think of Suspiria a little bit during this. So, all right, I'm gonna give since I want to get Carlitos and MZ in on this in just a moment, but I'm gonna give my kind of first impressions because yes, this movie has a reputation. A lot of people have said you got to see this movie. It's a fucking classic. It's a fucking surrealistic movie. It is a horror. It's bizarre. It's fucked up. So all of that is true. I would say that this film. I gotta say that this film was a huge inspiration for Takashi Miike. Like, I was just watching this and I could not help but think of Miike's stuff and how he may have been influenced by this because he deals with a lot of the sort of like mundane that goes horribly wrong in weird ways. And I got that impression here. And I will say the first half hour was kind of losing me in this because it's just a setup. We get like There's let me try to remember all the girls' names. So it's Gorgeous, who was like the main character, and she was originally gonna go she was gonna go stay
Was
with
her
her
dad
dad. That's
on a
right.
trip? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the dad introduced a new woman, and who was going to be her mother, and this was like, it was like all very 70s. And so, and then her friends were going to go somewhere else, and they couldn't go do that, so she decided, Gorgeous decided, let's go to my aunt's house. We'll all go to my aunt's house, and we'll have fun up there. So she hadn't talked to the aunt in, I don't know, years. So just sends it just shows how different things are. Sends a letter to the aunt, and then gets a letter back. It's like, oh yeah, we had to do that at one point in our lives. We had to send letters. Right now, it's instantaneous. Raven Chat will send you a text, or Raven Chat can give me a reaction that says, "Yo."
I did get that feeling. It's like, oh right, it's 1977.
Yeah. So it's it's just kind of funny. That's the way things used to be. But yeah, so gets the letter, and then so her and her friends go to stay with the aunt. What was the aunt's name? I'm trying to.
Oh God, I forgot.
Madam Webb.
Madam Webb. But yeah, okay. So I don't have the name right in front of me, but anyways, so they go up to the aunt's house, and it's super, like, really gorgeous looking set. Like the house, everything was really, really awesome. And this film is also one of the interesting things is Nobuhiko Obayashi. I didn't do a ton of research into this, which I was kind of hoping to, but he was a commercial director.
Yeah.
And I think that's how he got this gig. And you can almost kind of tell because the style is like different. Like it's almost a lot of like moment to moment stuff where he's trying to keep the attention of the viewer, which you do in ads, right? Like you want to keep the attention of the viewer. And now I think that the first half hour of this, like I said, was a little bit of a slog, at least for me the first time. And I also watched it first thing in the morning as soon as I woke up. I usually don't do that, but wanted to fit this in. I didn't want to rush it. So I was fucking exhausted after just waking up, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So it was a little bit of a slog for me. But then once I got to the house and the watermelon came into play, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board with this. And I love at this point in time, the visual effects were much different from what visual effects are these days. But the way that they handled them, I thought was really well done. And, obviously they show their age because it was 1977, but you can think about other stuff that was happening at the time. And for me, I thought this looked really good in a lot of respects, the way that they were able to pull off a lot of the effects that they did. So we'll get into talking a little bit more about the nitty gritty, but I want to get impressions. Raven Chow, you're going to say something?
What was it? 77, the same years that fucking Star Wars came out.
Yeah. So here in America, George Lucas was putting out Star Wars, and in Japan, they were putting out Hausu.
And stuff with the colors too, like even that scene when Gorgeous does come home, and it's the revelation that her dad is married to somebody else, and that like of the clouds and that the balcony sequence.
Yep.
Was, holy shit! Like one hand, it's from its time, but yet ahead of its time at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I could get on board with that. I know what you're talking about, and I would agree that this, at least taking sort of a time capsule and going back in time and trying to imagine what other stuff was like, this to me seemed like it was ahead of its time and that it was kind of an influential picture. I don't know if that bears out through history, but that would be my guess is that it is. And as I mentioned earlier, I have a feeling that this was very influential for a lot of Japanese filmmakers, especially Takashi Miike.
I would say some American filmmakers as well. I'm looking at you, Sam Raimi, David Lynch. And it's not a dig, but like, you know what I mean? Lynch, Raimi, Probably Peter Jackson too, not American, but like these dudes saw fucking Hausu, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So, Aries, any first impressions?
Yeah, my first impression was, what the fuck, Japan? And then my second thought was, what the fuck, Carlitos? Obviously, I'm going to stray a little different path than everyone else on this show, which I think that's my lot in life, just to disagree with everyone else on this fucking show. Yeah, no, I definitely didn't have the same takeaway that everyone else did on this one. I mean, for the time, 77, I thought it was shot beautifully. Like, you wouldn't guess that it was that old of a movie, but all in all, like, special effects and scenery and everything else, yeah, that was very lackluster for me.
Okay. All right, Carlito, so if you could try to remember the first time you saw this, give us like some first impressions the first time versus this rewatch. Was there anything sort of like, different when you first saw it versus now?
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I think what drew me to it, around the same time MZ was hearing about it, like, I think what it was like its use of special effects and all these things like filmmaking techniques and all that stuff. And I think that's what kind of drew me to the film. It was like, okay, I got to see this. I wasn't like too hyped that it was like a supernatural horror or, ghost house movie, but from what I heard about what type of stuff it had in it, well, I won't get into that part yet, but we'll get into like the weird stuff, that happens in the film basically. But so when I watched it, it was, yeah, okay, this delivers. This is exactly, I don't know if it was hype, but whatever was being said about this film lived up to it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, so I wasn't disappointed in that aspect. So I did enjoy it. I was like, yeah, man, this movie is exactly what people are saying what it is. I was trying to, I was gonna around the time, I was working a lot and stuff, so I wasn't really trying to push it on people. But now with more time in my hands, I've been trying to do that, hence the show. But
yep.
Yeah, and the second time I was, obviously I'm looking at it a little more critically, so I'd be able to talk about it on the show here. To me, it seemed like an exercise in different filmmaking techniques. He was just using different wipes and different shutter speeds or the film speed,
Yeah.
There was like a whole scene where it was just like half frames.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like 15 frames per second or something like that. But even watching it now, I mean, it's still insane. It's still insane to watch and still kind of a fun movie. And I enjoyed it the second time as much as I did the first time. So,
yeah. All right, same thing for you, MZ. First time you saw it, like, what were you thinking versus the rewatch?
Well,
or this rewatch. I know you've rewatched it many times.
Yeah, I've seen this movie about 15 times already. The first time I saw it, I was literally blown away. I've never seen anything like it. As we live in a world of CGI and half, a lot of it's not very good. A lot of it, some other amounts of it are fairly decent, but for the most part, they could be better. When you look at the special effects back then, they wedged pretty much every special effect you could possibly think of back then into this movie, between matte paintings, blue screen,
yep,
cut and paste, and things like that nature. It's really incredible. It's an assault on the eyes. It really is. I mean, you could tell a person what this movie is about, give away the entire plot, and it would still be an experience to watch it, because it's all about its visual aspects of the film. And as I watch it just a couple days ago, I'm still blown away by it because I always see something new. Obayashi has just crammed so much stuff into this movie that you need more than one viewing of this movie. It's essential to get in as much as you possibly can. And I watch it still, and I still see something new, little bits and pieces here and there, but I always catch something new in this movie. And that's a movie that has a high rewatchability factor. Plus, to me, I mean, you found the beginning to be bit sluggish. I was enthralled with the beginning because of the different techniques used with camera work and whatever it is, it's definitely not American. You know,
No,
it's definitely not American, and I love it for that. And it just feels fresh and new, dated, but it just feels new to me. It feels like an innocence of filmmaking. You know how, like, when we watched what was it, Miami Connection?
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot of violence. There's some nudity involved. It's drugs and kung fu, but there's a certain innocence involved in the film. Same thing here. I mean, you don't have the drugs. You don't have. I mean, but you do have kung fu, who is the best character in the movie, by the way. And you do have violence, but there is a certain innocence about this movie because it all, no matter how crazy, no matter how violent it gets, no matter how many kids die in this film.
Well, we all know you love violence against children. So.
There is an innocence about this movie, and it's a childlike innocence. It's like a kid's scary fairy tale, and that's exactly really what it is. Obayashi, when he was confronted with this new project where he was supposed to be putting out the next Jaws. This is what Toho wanted. Put out the next Jaws. And so he went to his daughter, and his daughter was telling him these dreams that she was having. So the reason, and he put it in film. So the reason why the film feels like it was written by a 10-year-old girl is, for the most part, it's because it was.
It is interesting.
It came out of the dreams of his daughter, you know, and as far as Obayashi getting the gig goes, yeah, he presented the story to a whole bunch of different companies. Nobody wanted it. So in the meantime, while it was sitting on the shelf, the idea, not the film hasn't been shot yet, he started shooting commercials. And in about a 2-year span, they said that he did about somewhere around 200 commercials.
Wow.
And in his off time, he would have these business cards that says Hausu on it, promoting the film. So because of the generated buzz of passing out the cards and people getting an idea of what the film is about from a director who has done about 200 commercials in a 2-year span, Toho finally decided, okay, we're going to let you direct the film. And that's kind of unusual because Toho would only allow Toho licensed and contracted directors to do their films. And Obayashi was not. So they went against their own law and said, okay, you make the film, and the rest is history.
If we need to do a commentary for this now because of fucking MZ called Criterion. Let's get MZ on that fucking thing.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm busy that night.
But Aries, you said you were free that night.
Oh no, I'm definitely busy.
Gonna wash your beard.
Yep. And condition. Conditions, that's the key point there.
That is pretty interesting, though. I actually didn't know that Okabayashi, that his daughter or I'm sorry, Obayashi. I'm thinking of a wrestler. But Obayashi, that his daughter had influenced a lot of it. That makes sense. I didn't think of it as being sort of like juvenile or childish, but I think that you're right. Is that it is when you're even before you said that, MZ, when you said it's like a children's horror fairy tale, I was thinking that it's kind of like that, but through the lens of an adult. But now that you mentioned about the dreams, it absolutely is exactly what that is. It's a children's nightmare seen through the eyes of an adult. And I think that knowing that, it actually adds a little bit more to it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And, obviously I'm sure we could, dive into tons of different stories about this. I'm trying to look up to see if any of the actors in this were well known in anything else. And they've done a lot of Japanese productions, so it's kind of hard for me to tell if I've never heard of it.
I read at the time that they were locals or just amateur actors that he got. At least that's what I read.
Okay, that would
at least before that, it may become big.
Actually,
I think there's only 2 that were big.
Okay.
Actually, the one who played Auntie is really the only established actress in this film. Another one was the one who played Gorgeous, and she had minimal acting experience. The other girls, they were all models who worked with Obayashi. They worked with Obayashi, so he just cast them, and he gave them names that went along with their personalities. So, like Professor, she was the smart one.
Yep.
Sweet, she was the sweet one. Gorgeous was the pretty one. Mac was the eater. Yeah, the quote unquote fat my ass.
Fat, yeah.
Fat, yeah.
That was fucking douchebag.
Kung Fu, Melody, she was the musical one.
Fantasy, right? Was it Fantasy?
Fantasy, the dreamer.
Yeah.
The dreamer.
Yeah, so it's funny because looking at the credits, the actress who played Auntie she's buried on the second page of IMDb, but you're right about that. Her name was Yoko Minamida, and she unfortunately passed away in 2009, it looks like. But she has 123 credits to her name, and she had quite a few prior to doing this. She had at least a good 50 titles to her credit before doing Hausu, so she was very well established at the time.
Yep.
So it's interesting to hear about that and to hear some of the, I'm sure there's a ton of stories. I'd be curious if there is even. Do you guys know if there's any documentaries about this, MZ or Carlitos? Do you guys know?
I haven't watched the supplements yet. I didn't quite have the time, but so as far as I know, I don't think so.
Okay, MZ.
The supplements are fun. My suggestion is to look up Hausu reviews on YouTube.
Okay.
That's where there's one that's like 41 minutes long, I think. I don't remember who puts it out, but it's like 41 minutes long, and it's an excellent review, boiling everything down to its barest criteria. It's really, really quite an interesting review.
I'll have to check that out because I actually was hoping to have some time to watch some of those, but I just didn't have time before we did the show with the 2 films this week. So I'll have to track that one down. I'll look for it. And maybe actually, if you find it, MZ, maybe share it to the group or something.
Yeah, I could do that. Sure.
So I guess we'll talk about some of the details. I mean, obviously, this film is 43 years old, so I don't think we have to worry about any spoilers. But
don't worry about. Oh man, that's my age. You just reminded me, man.
Well, I got a year on you, Carlito, so you're still still a young buck. But some of the interesting scenes. So I guess let's just call out some favorite scenes. I'm sure there's going to be different ones. So, Carlitos, did you have a favorite scene or favorite death or whatever that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, the first scene where with the head in the well.
Oh yeah.
She was.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I was watching it. I watched it yesterday. Just seeing now, I still find that head really creepy. Japan does really good creepy ghost zombie face, whatever, and just her smiling and wanting to bite on her. I found that a little bit creepy. And speaking of the effects, the blue sky, I thought those were well done. I mean, just seeing in the context of the time, I think they're pretty darn good. I think they're up there with some of the other films of that time,
Yeah.
But that's one that sticks out to me. But I'll let somebody who may want to talk about the piano scene, maybe.
All right, so
go
ahead. Rachel, go ahead.
I think what's important is so you got the Scooby gang coming to the aunt's house, right? And she's very old and frail, and the house is it's a giant like Xavier mansion.
Yeah.
That's been disrepair, and the aunt keeps complaining about how, oh well, I'm too old. I just sit in this room and it can't be done. And all the girls are like, oh well, we'll clean, we'll pick up, and we'll do stuff for you. It's almost like that weird like, what's the fucking motherfucker with the fence and the paint? Huck Finn. You know what I mean? Like, not Billy Squire. Is Huck Finn, and who else is it? Tom Jones.
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Jones.
Tom Jones. It's not unusual.
Not unusual to paint fence with anyone. But like, like the magic trick was like, she was like, I'm old and frail in a wheelchair. And they all like, we'll cook, we'll clean. And as they're like cooking and cleaning the joint, she's like kind of getting her groove back, right? Like she's like, oh, wait, you can walk now? So like my first thought watching this was like, it was all a work. Like when the aunt replied, I've been waiting for you to call.
Yeah.
Like an opportunist. Like she was like under there. You know what I'm trying to say? Like kind of like, bring me the youth. And she was getting powers because they were, the useful shit they do because they're kids. You know what I mean?
I think she was getting stronger because I think she started walking after the first girl disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was obviously I guess we said we could spoil this, right? So
yeah,
she ate her. We find out that she ate her. So what? But her being gone, the girls still don't know where Mac. It was Mac who was the first girl to disappear. They were wondering where she's at, and all of a sudden she gets out of her wheelchair. So yeah. So that was the reasoning behind that.
I'm just going to interrupt real quick. I'm getting some roboting. You guys hearing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wicked bad.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just kill the call on one of my devices, and then I'll add it right back. So you guys might not hear for a second, and I'm going to lose camera feeds. Actually, no, I won't lose camera. Hold on. So I'm going to cut these guys out. So I'm just going to end the call and get them back on and see if that fixes things, because that's really annoying, and I don't want to go the whole fucking episode with that. So let's see here. All right, let me add these guys back. All right, you guys back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gone now, so good. We are able to fix that easily. That's good. If it comes back, we'll do the same thing. All right. So, where were we? We're talking about deaths, favorite deaths or favorite scenes, I guess. For me, I guess it's tough because there's a lot of really interesting ones. Carlitos did mention the piano one, which I thought was a pretty good scene. the girl getting losing all of her fingers and just playing even that looked pretty cool. Like watching her hold up her hands with fingers missing and stuff was pretty cool looking. So the thing is about this film, I will say it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it's simple. I mean, I guess it's not like it needs to make complete sense. It's a very simple story. But there's some things in here that don't really make a whole lot of sense as to why they happened. So, Rave
But
Joe,
I think that plays upon the fairy tale aspect of it.
Yeah.
Some of the dream stuff where, like I know Johnny, you mentioned and I'm not that far behind you, thinking that we're gonna see some weird fucking snuff film. I don't know what the fuck this movie was about. But you see some of the characters like individual backstories. By the time it comes to being in the Hausu, it is very like fairy, dark, Hansel and Gretel, kind of shit going on. And you're wondering where it's gonna go. Like, that piano scene is definitely up there for me. And even they blend the animation with stuff. I'm not sure how that. I'm actually kind of fascinated how that scene was made.
Yeah.
For its time. You know what I mean? Once again, this is going on around the same time that Lucas was fucking making fucking Death Stars, but this guy was in Japan doing a piano that ate a girl. It's not apples to apples comparison, but it's fascinating how it was done back then. And I would love to check out a fucking a commentary track or a deep dive into how this picture was done.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that, by the way, I think the roboting's back, but let me see. So I think one of the cool things about it is there's so many images in this that you can just screenshot and make really just beautiful imagery. Like, I feel like this film is very almost like quotable, but in a visual sense, where you could take a screenshot and it works exceptionally well.
Yes.
And
the map paintings are really beautiful.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and just even like some of the weird stuff, like I can't remember what was Mac. Was that the one that got beheaded?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's that one of Mac, I think it's Mac, where her head is just kind of floating amongst like a background of like blue-faced people. Like it's just a really bizarre image. But yeah, there's some really bizarre imagery in this and some really cool effects.
My favorite scene, and it involves the piano, but it does not involve the death. In fact, my favorite scene doesn't even involve the death. Is the scene where Melody, she's playing at the piano, and she's playing like the theme song to the film, and as the camera is swinging around the piano, you see the skeleton in the background.
Oh yeah,
dancing with the arms flailing, and there's like this really weird rattling that's going along with the rhythm to the music, and you got that skeleton in the background, in the deep background, just moving its arms around and everything. I mean, I just love that scene.
Yeah. He pops up later too.
Yeah. Oh,
just
great.
dancing in the background. Just
yeah.
Give that guy a break.
Yeah.
that and also when Auntie was munching on the fish and then threw it back into the
oh yeah.
After she went into the refrigerator, munching on the fish, throwing it back in the fish bowl. Then the music starts playing, and it's playing to the rhythm of the cat's meows.
Yeah.
While it's walking along, it's like, oh my god! If that's not like a fever dream, just waiting to happen. You hear that, say you got like a really bad headache, you're not feeling good, and you're like half awake, half asleep, and you got that running through your head. Oh my god!
I'm gonna try one more thing because this roboting is driving me fucking nuts. So you guys, I'll keep your video, but you guys won't have audio for about 30 seconds. So, all right. So I'm gonna try to get this thing fixed because that's annoying as hell. Just plug into a different device here. I don't even know if it's on my end or not, but we'll see. All right. See if that fixes it.
Please let me know.
All right.
If this ain't love, baby.
You guys singing during the break?
Yeah, some Huey Lewis. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. As of now, I don't hear the roboting. If it comes back, we'll try to. We'll just end the call during the break and then restart it. But I changed devices. I'm using a different device now, so maybe that was what was doing it. Not sure, but
getting some static.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
not too bad.
I think it's improved a little bit, but during the break, we'll just kill the call and I'll restart it because sometimes Skype, once it has an issue, it's hard to really track down. So, all right. Well, I think we could probably head to the verdict on this one. And then if there's anything else you wanted to say, by all means, say it in the verdict. But, I mean, there's honestly so much that we could say about this film that I think we could go on for hours. But in terms of keeping it fair, and I want to get enough time for BuyBust as well. Why don't we just head to the verdict right now then?
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Hausu was a trick or a treat and any final thoughts we may have. You know what? I'm going to start with Aries.
All right. Obviously, yeah, I didn't enjoy this movie. I had multiple problems with it. This movie, it didn't abide by its own rules, and I am big on movie establishing its rules and then sticking with them. The biggest offense was what Johnny was talking about with the piano. This movie's so old, I don't give a fuck about spoilers. You're dealing with the character. She lost her fingers as she's playing the piano. As she's pulled away, she has her fingers back, and the mannequin's lost her fingers. But then the fingers that are playing the pianos have bones. They're obviously her fingers, but they're not her fingers. They're the mannequin finger. It's these little rules that are being broken that bother me throughout this whole movie. The fact that this movie was a comedy was lost on me. I didn't know that going in. I don't know if that would have helped me as I watched this because none of this seemed overly comedic to me. It seemed overly drawn out. The cinematically, this movie was shot very well. You wouldn't have guessed it was that old, but a lot of the special effects I felt were dated. There was some things I saw in this movie that went all the way back into the 1950s. It was just too much in this movie. There was just the story was lackluster. The acting was lackluster. And you know what? I'm going to offend people with this statement. I feel this movie is a trendy movie to say you like it because it's a cult movie. It wasn't discovered until a couple of years ago, and this is that underground movie that I discovered, and I'm cool because I discovered this movie. This movie, it was undiscovered because it sucked. Skip it. Fucking skip it, and I'm sorry if I offended you. Moving.
I love the disclaimer at the end. All right, let's go to Raven Shadow.
Yo, I'm so into indie shit. This movie's dope. If you don't watch like this, you're dumb. No, I don't know. I was having fun with the Aries. I don't know, man. It was not what I expected. I really thought it was going to be some weird, like darker than it was. I don't know the comedy part. I didn't know it was supposed to be a comedy. So if it was, that was lost on me. I don't know. I don't think it was the greatest movie I ever saw, but I'm looking at it in the context of its time and seeing how it definitely had to influence people. And there was some shit in this that I had never seen before. I would like to watch it again. It's not a perfect film. I'm definitely down for doing a commentary track. Get us all together. Carlito, you coming up?
Sure.
We're gonna have Hausu night. in Europe. But it was fucking crazy, Nana. And all right, was anybody uncomfortable of the nudity that was there?
I wanted to mention that, but I wasn't. I was a little afraid to bring it up.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I imagine they were, of an appropriate age, but it was a little weird.
That was my thought too, because I was watching that with Marion, and I'm like, no, if there was anything like that, you wouldn't be able to watch it. But I was uncomfortable by that scenes, right? MZ saying fucking nothing.
Let's just get beyond the nudity.
No, I'm waiting for my turn to speak.
Yeah, man. I think this was a batshit crazy amalgamation of nonsense and chaos. Did this dude do anything else after this? Or was like, I'm gonna do House and that's it. I'm gonna sell women's shoes.
He did do stuff, but I mean, obviously a lot of it is he's still doing stuff now. Like he did a film in 2019. Actually, no, he died this year. Yeah,
he did.
Shit. So he did do something in 2019 though. But yeah, he's directed movies pretty much all along.
So we'll never see Hausu 2 Second Story. That'd be weird.
Second Story. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's a play on a different picture. Man, batshit crazy Japanese 70s treat, dog.
All right, MZ.
This movie was a big hit in Japan. Raked in a lot of cash. Wasn't that big of a hit here because American audiences wouldn't be able to understand it.
By that you mean Aries.
When the word that comes to my mind when I think of this film is ambitious. This has to rank one of the all-time most ambitious films ever made. You threw pretty much everything on the wall to see if it sticks, and like 99% of it sticks. It's so bizarre and so out there, and Obayashi changed the landscape of Japanese filmmaking with this film. And you guys are right that a lot of directors took note of this movie and decided to not mimic, but
inspired.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, is to be inspired from his work. And Mike is a great example, like you said, Wolfie. A lot of people take note of the bad acting, and yeah, that's because they're not actors.
And I actually that didn't even cross my mind, honestly. I didn't think that they were really bad.
I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
To me, it shows. You could see there's some scenes where you could really tell that their acting is really, really poor. Now, as far as the nudity goes, I never really gave it much thought. I figured, they got to be at least 18. Otherwise, there's no way this movie would be in our hands.
Right.
So because of that, I never gave it a second thought. Just truly out there storytelling, filmmaking, in style, substance. It's truly a sensory overload for the eyes. It really is, and it takes a lot to take it all in one shot. You got to watch this multiple times to take it all in. It's fantastic. I love this movie. I think this was the last blind buy that I've ever done that I can say was so worth it. And it has been. I love this movie. A personal favorite of mine. This is a huge treat.
All right. Awesome, MZ. I had a feeling it would be. But now let's hear from Carlitos. I think we know, but let's make it official, Carlitos.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as MZ, even to the point when probably bought it around the same time. This is just an insane, crazy, just to me, a very entertaining film. I was entertained the first time. I was entertained again this time, even just kind of scrutinized it a little bit. Nothing really stuck out to me as poor. I thought the acting was fine, at least fine for what the film is and all that stuff. I thought, as far as the comedy goes, I think that was all kind of with the some of the aspects with fantasy, like her trying to convince her friends. It's not laugh out loud, but there's a bit of humor there where she's trying, she sees the auntie go into the fridge and just kind of doing these weird things, and maybe some of the upbeat tone of some of the scenes involving, with auntie dancing around and all that stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to see a trippy, crazy film, if you want to see if you're high or something like that, yeah, this is that film, man. But it's kind of not slow and droning, just kind of high energy, crazy film. So yeah, it's a treat for me. Absolutely, go see it.
All right, and for me, I'm also going to give this a treat. As I stated, it took a little, for me anyways, and I kind of followed MZ's recommendation, just watch the movie, turn your phone off, make sure you focus. So I did that, and, it did take, for me, it took a little kind of, to get started. But once it did, it was just this sort of like blissful nightmare. And and that makes a lot of sense now, MZ, when you explain to me how Obayashi got the ideas for this. It completely makes sense. And I thought it's pulled off exceptionally well. There's some really great scenes. And for a film from 1977, this film looks better than a lot of films that I've seen in the 2000s. So... and it is that cult classic sort of thing. And like Aries said, I could see it going either way. I could see people being like, holy shit, how have I never seen this fucking thing? This is amazing. To people, liking it because they feel like they found a hidden gem that nobody else has seen. And, so I see both sides of it. For me, this was an entertaining film. And as a fan of cinema, I'm glad that this exists, and I'm glad that we, are able to see something like this, because it's different than anything I've ever seen, and I can't say that about too many films these days, So that alone right there makes it worth the price of admission, I'd say. So for me, Hausu is a treat, and I think it would be interesting to eventually do a commentary on this. Aries, it's a shame that you won't be available that night.
You know what? I because you went to me so early, I don't think I actually said my verdict. I don't think I actually gave trick or treat.
I think we could ascertain if you hadn't.
Oh no, I just feel the listeners need to make sure I am clear on this. Trick! just in case.
Dear God, no!
And now, when I go upstairs, I'm going to have to answer what the hell was that?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You're so loud.
Well, at least
I'm gonna get. Who are you yelling at now?
Well, at least you don't get yelled at during the show, though.
No. I just get questioned. Who am I yelling at? That's about it.
All right, so that is going to wrap up our discussion of Hausu. Evil Corny in the chat room says, I hallucinated during it. All right, fair enough.
I'll have what Corny said.
He had what you're having, Raven Shadow. But you sent it to him 8 months later, so that's why I gave him hallucinations.
Fuck, bro.
All right, so I guess I'll take this opportunity. We're going to take a quick break, Raven Shadow. Literally a quick break. It'll be like 60 to 90 seconds. Okay?
Yeah, literally.
So
I'll be back.
I literally want you in your fucking seat. We have a guest here. Carlitos is our guest, man. He paid for this spot. He's helping to support us. I want you in your chair.
I
Aries,
love.
Aries,
I'll
want to
be
make
in it.
another? Want to make another?
I'll bet you the $10 that I put in for the month.
Oh shit! That's a pack of Winston Lights, Raven Shadow.
Oh, Punky Lights.
Rapongi Lights. All right. So, but before we head to this quick break, so Raven Shadow, if you want to go ahead, get up. I'm going to mention next week's movies unless you want to hear them.
Well,
He's going to ask anyway, so just let him get
Yeah,
up.
you're going to ask anyway, so it doesn't matter. He did take his headphones off. All right. So next week, once again, December Cram Jam rolls on. We're doing 2 films, and we are going to do, since we did Castle Freak, the original by Stuart Gordon, we're actually going to take a look at the remake that is streaming on Shudder right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're going to check out the Castle Freak remake, and since the original viewing is still fresh in our heads, it'll be good to kind of compare the two. So that is available on Shudder if you guys want to play along at home. Castle Freak is on Shudder. And then also, this movie comes out, if you're listening to this live on the 10th of December, this movie comes out tomorrow on Friday, December 11th. And the name of the movie is Arch Enemy. And this is a film from director Adam Egypt Mortimer, which we did one of his films before. He did Daniel Isn't Real. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So director of Daniel Isn't Real, and it stars, actually I don't know if it stars him, but he is one of the stars. Joe Manganiello is in this one. And let me see if it has anyone else that we recognize. Amy Simons. Who's she? I recognize her name. She was in Upstream Color and Pet Sematary from 2019. That's why I recognize her. But anyways, Arch Enemy is just hitting VOD tomorrow. So we'll be checking that out along with Castle Freak on Shudder. So it should be fun. That's what we're doing for December Cram Jam next week. Now we will take that short, very brief break, about 90 seconds tops, and we'll be back to discuss BuyBust.
This is the Sasquatch, aka Bigfoot, but you can just call me Frank. And when I'm not stomping around the woods throwing rocks at hunters, I like to listen to the Paranormal Punchers podcast. That's right, Paranormal Punchers. They talk about all things paranormal, and they're hilarious. Go find them on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and ParanormalPunches.com.
I'm Alex West.
And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio. Oh, he's not there.
Oh, Tom, his $10 for the month is gone.
I think he owes you $10 now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we are now going to talk about the next film. MZ is going to be leaving us in a few minutes because he's not feeling great. But let me just quickly run down the stats, MZ. We'll get your quick verdict, and then we'll let you go, all right? So BuyBust is from 2018. This film is not rated. It is 2 hours, 7 minutes. It is an action thriller from director Eric Maddie, I think is how you say that. And it is written by Anton Santamaria and Eric Maddie. And the film stars Ann Curtis, Brandon Vera, Victor Neri, Arjo Atade, Levi Ignacio, Alex Calleja, Lau Rodriguez, and also, let me see here, Joros Gamboa. Now, the synopsis: an anti-drug enforcement agency stages a massive drug bust in the slums of Manila. All right, Carlitos. So before we dive into this, what about BuyBust? What made you pick this film for us to discuss on the show?
Well, this one I had a harder time choosing because Hausu was easy, but I had to think of a film that was, the second film. I didn't have any discussions that would, make a good show here, but but it seemed like it's been a while since you guys did a pretty high energy style action film.
Yep.
I don't know if Triple Threat may have been the last one or something like that. And BuyBust is kind of an interesting film to me because I first heard of it on Cultimoso when they reviewed it alongside The Night Comes For Us. And it was through their review that I went ahead and saw it. I saw it was on Netflix. It's like, oh, okay, I'll watch that. And when I watched it, the points that they made definitely were there. At the same time, I was like, I love the movie so much, I immediately bought it on disc.
Nice.
I was like, this movie's still awesome, despite some flaws, if compared to, like, say, The Raid or Night Comes For Us. But I think it has a lot of great qualities that, like, we'll probably get into it. Like, it was probably labeled as like a post-raid action film.
Yeah.
Like Philippines' take on that. But seeing it more, it's like my third time in it's like less than 2 years. I see it more than that because there's not so much a lot of martial arts fights. There's a lot of shooting. There has a lot of elements I like in other movies like siege films, whatever subgenre you want to put the warriors in, kind of like that escape, trying to get to safety film.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And I love the setting. I love the cinematography, but we'll all get into that. But that's why I picked it. Let's see what you guys think about it.
Okay.
See if you see what you see.
Okay, awesome. And I'm actually glad that you did for the very reason that you stated. We haven't really done too many high energy action films this year. So it is good to kind of have as a counterpoint, especially to Hausu. So these are two interesting flicks.
Yeah.
MZ, I know you're fading, you're not feeling so hot. So I guess give us your quick take on BuyBust, and then we'll let you get some rest.
Well, I had this queued up on my Netflix, so this is one that I've been waiting to pull the trigger on. Well, after watching it, I can honestly say that I guess you really can bring a knife to a gunfight and come out on top. You don't get that too often. There's a lot of gunplay here, but there's also a lot of knifing going on here too.
Yeah, indeed.
A lot of it. And they are a formidable bunch. I think the setting is really, really cool. The whole maze-like neighborhood that this movie takes place in. I mean, if it's a set, it's impressive. If it's not a set, it's impressive. But I thought that aspect was really, really cool. Some of the characters were really neat. Except the one guy I couldn't stand though was I don't know his name.
T-Bon.
He was the one. He was
the informant.
No.
Not Judas.
De La Cruz, the bald one.
No.
Okay.
The informant.
The dude with the light up glasses.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a staple that every gang has to have a member that's like that. But that doesn't make it any easier to deal with. And he was just annoying as hell. The big bald guy, I think his name is Yonda.
Brandon Vera, yeah.
Brandon Vera.
Yeah, that guy was cool. That guy was real cool.
He's an MMA fighter.
Is he? Yeah,
he's a champion actually. I think right now.
He looks like it.
Yeah,
he looks like it.
Of the dude that was in Blade 2.
With the hammer.
The hammer,
Flesh
and
hammer.
Also in Aliens, the one that was with Velasquez.
Drake.
Yeah. He was that kind of archetype, dude.
All right, go ahead, MZ. I don't know if you heard Raven Chow, but MZ's about to go because he's not feeling great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Some of the fighting was cool. A lot of it felt very like the choreography just wasn't there. It felt kind of like they were holding back. And there's a couple of scenes where you can actually see that happening.
I'm completely on board with you. Yeah. Go ahead.
But I mean, outside of that, I mean, you got a story here, drug kingpin, just try, knowing that what he's doing is wrong, but he doesn't give a shit. And only it's not the drug kingpin and his lackeys that the cops are facing, but also the people that live in the slummy neighborhood. So it's really kind of scary when you think about it, how close it is to what's going on today in this country. But I mean, overall, I mean, to think that there's over 2 hours of this going on is just crazy. But there's barely any boredom, and action film, that's what you want. So, I mean, just based on that alone, this is a treat. Because of the choreography of the fights, though, kind of knocks it down a little bit. I still recommend it. I still say it's a treat. But it's not as high as I think a lot of people are going to give it.
All right. So, MZ, we appreciate you, hanging till the as long as you could. I know you're not feeling great, so what's that?
I'm sorry, Carlito. I feel like crap. I'm sorry, Carlitos.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Get some rest.
Oh, damn it. So, yeah, that's it for me, man. So, thank you, Carlitos, for being a Patreon. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. And looking forward to hearing from you again next time. Till then. Arrivederci, douchebags, and arrivederci to you. You're my favorite douchebag of the night.
All right.
Wow. All right, MZ, get better, man. All
Thank
right?
you.
All right. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
See you, man. All right, so MZ is leaving us, but now we're going to talk about BuyBust. And so, MZ sort of, said some of the things that I would agree with there. Now, before we start diving into the nitty gritty, I'm actually kind of curious. Aries, which order did you watch these movies in?
Crap, I don't remember. Oh, this one I watched first, and then the other one.
Okay, so it's interesting because I could see watching these in different orders, like having them like having an impact. Like if you watch this first and then Hausu, like I could see Hausu feeling a lot slower, and vice versa. If you watch Hausu first and then watch this, it's like, oh wow, this is like fast paced, like very differently paced films. How about you, Raven Shadow?
I did Hausu first, and then I watched BuyBust.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm actually not too familiar. Carlitos, maybe you could fill me in. Eric Maddie, is he someone who you would say is one of the like better action directors working these days?
I know before this, but only because of Cult of Muscle, that he made a crime film before this. But I think it was more of a crime film, straight up more crime film with not quite the action level of this film is. It's kind of funny. The only other, I know he's directed a lot of movies, so I think he's just more of a prolific director. I think with this movie, he's starting to get some recognition. But the funny thing is like the only other movie that I know he directed that I have it is a movie called Gangnam Boy, which translates to Spider Boy, but I have it as a bootleg title as Filipino Spider-Man. So, which is a completely different movie. It shares some of the same qualities, like the lighting and the setting and stuff like that. But that movie it's just broad comedy, almost to the point like a children's movie. And about a guy has superhero powers, similar to everyone's favorite neighborhood Spider-Man. But yeah, I think this is kind of his first movie that actually broke the barrier beyond the Filipino filmmaking scene.
Okay.
And now we're seeing it here because there ain't too many that we see, you know.
Yeah.
Especially action.
Yeah, I was kind of curious because I know I've heard his name tossed around in some action circles, so I was kind of curious what his reputation was. But I would say, I mean, I kind of agree with what MZ said. I think that this is an impressive film. To film this, like, this was a Herculean task to get this film to, like, with all the sequences. I actually think it had good choreography. I think it had questionable execution in some scenes. Because I think that the choreography was absolutely there. There's some scenes on the rooftops. There's that scene, like, I think the standout scene for me is when Brandon Vera's character is wading through the high water in that alleyway.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one.
And they're showing that shot from above of him kind of fighting through. Like, that to me, in no way am I comparing it to the knife fight scene, hallway fight scene in Old Boy. But it had, like, it was a reminiscent of something like that. It was like this big action set piece that was impressive and memorable. So for me, I love that scene. And then I loved when it just moved into that next scene with Ann Curtis's character. That whole sequence there I thought was really solid. But unfortunately, the part with the Ann Curtis scene there when she was on the rooftops, like, it almost felt to me, and maybe Raven Shadow and Aries, and I'm not sure how much Lucha Libre you watch, Carlitos, but it felt like a Lucha Libre match where you're watching and they know exactly what's going to happen next, but they're not really selling that the crowd shouldn't know that, you know? It's almost like they're going through the motions of doing these movements, but everyone is just going through the motions, and I'm not buying that it's, like, happening for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like, trying to...
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think that's the biggest flaw with this film. Yeah, and that tracking shot scene definitely shows that.
Yeah.
It's extremely well-directed scene.
Yes, definitely.
But the fight choreography isn't quite there. I don't think it's super terrible, but yeah, you could see that they're just kind of slowing down. And I think another big problem with it is that helps it not sell, and I did pick it up, especially this time that I watched it, is the sound effects lacks impact.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very soft.
Yep.
It's just, and sometimes not even there. Like, even when, like, sound effects can go a long way to help sell a scene even if they're not just, like, with the blocking, and there was, like, no sound there when they're doing the blocking moves and all that stuff. I think that amplifies that issue more, but yeah, that's probably the best scene showing that kind of aspect of it. But like I said, I still appreciated, enjoyed it, and just like MZ said, the setting is why I love it so much, and even the look of it, the cinematography. Like, if you compare it, like, just for comparison's sake, you compare it with The Raid. Yeah, the fight scene's not even close, but I do think this is a much better looking film than The Raid.
Interesting.
Because to me, The Raid, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm the biggest Raid fan ever, but and I push those films, Raid and Raid 2. I push, hey, you got to watch this. I'm watching again, blah blah blah. But, like, I do feel that, like, with The Raid, it's very gray and monotone in color. This one's a much more colorful film, albeit dark, but more colorful.
Almost like as colorful as, like, fucking Dick Tracy was,
or
in a fucking slum setting. Like,
I was thinking Suspiria with the colors, the lighting style, and maybe not, you know, that kind of look of it, or maybe probably closer would be like Refn with, like, Only God Forgives.
Yeah, I can see that totally.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the movie did look really good, and I think it was shot well. And there is I think the camera work and the direction and editing is all great. You know, I think that, like we talked about, I think my only problem was with the execution of the action, because the choreography I thought for the most part was there. Like, it had what you'd expect, but it just didn't have that oomph like you talked about. And like even the sound effects just were not quite there, because I wasn't feeling the impact of what was going on. Raven Shadow, go ahead.
What's funny, one particular fight scene that really grabbed me was with the bald dude fighting the girl, when she's like trying to pluck his eyes out.
She tried pushing his with her thumbs.
One with the cactus.
The cactus play.
Yes. Okay.
The cactus play, and then with the like hedge clippers.
Those hedge clippers.
That was a great scene, but I do feel that it was a split second or away from showing something, and the sound wasn't. I mean, I definitely did like a oh shit moment, but it could have been more. You know what I mean? Like they could have had more of a sound, or maybe just a little bit more on camera of the act itself. It still was a powerful scene, but it could have been so much. It could have been a scotch more.
If you saw the actual decapitation, or
I don't even seeing it. I think once he had it, fucking okay, you know what's gonna happen.
Right.
But maybe it just missed a little bit of a oomph factor.
Right. Yeah.
Now, see, decapitation aside, I thought a lot of the it's going to make sense when I finish my statement. I thought a lot of the sound effects in this were like real world appropriate. I felt that a lot of the fighting seemed real to me.
Yeah.
Being someone that has been in a couple of fights, like the sound effects put me in this movie more than other movies. It didn't seem fake to me.
It's an interesting perspective, because what you expect from films is that loud, like, like where you feel it and you just, it's really out there and it's really in the front. But what Aries is saying is he actually kind of enjoyed having it sound more realistic, which is an interesting take on it. And, I hadn't even thought of it that way.
Now I say the beheading because surprisingly, I've never witnessed a beheading.
Yet.
It's early.
Yeah,
it's early.
wait till you get back in studio.
There's still like 2 more weeks of 2020.
That's what I was gonna say. 2020 ain't over yet.
Raven Shadow wants her his birthday, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, what's funny is to tie both of these movies together, they both had beheadings.
Oh yeah.
Funny.
Which is kind of funny. Like, it's interesting. We found a way to tie the last Patreon films together too. We did Phantom Thread and the Death Wish Club, and it was interesting. We found a way to tie them together as well. So decapitations all around. But
in her decapitation.
I thought that the setup was good. Like, we got into things fairly quickly. Like, it was a good 15 or so minutes before we're really kind of almost in the thick of it. And that's why, like, this film, like, I actually it's not necessarily too long, but I think that this could have used a little bit more editing. 2 hours, 7 minutes. And you get a little bit of action fatigue because, and we talked about this in terms of pacing with films recently. I feel like there's just not the pacing it could have been a little bit better. I think it was, we were talking about May the Devil Take You 2 last week, and the pacing of that, I thought for a horror film was perfect. It gave you enough horror and visceral sort of horror, but then we got little breaks in between, but it still felt relentless. This to me was almost too relentless. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. I would have liked maybe a few more breaks to kind of recover, and then those action sequences I think would have had a little bit more oomph to them, because there was a little bit more. But having said that,
go ahead. would that have been a disservice to the characters though? Because
maybe
they established the time frame. You know, they had the running clock, and if the police team had time to breathe, they could think more. So you kind of needed them to be rushing and to have that struggle. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
well, they were giving them time to breathe. I mean, this wasn't, you know, minute for minute. There were time jumps.
Right. Yeah.
So obviously they were able to regroup. I think where this movie failed is the final onslaught, where it was just relentless for 15 or 20 minutes. I think that's where a lot of it was that was where it kind of stepped beyond reality into fantasy for me, because it was nonstop, and there was a lot of choreography problems. I know, Wolfie, you mentioned you liked the alleyway scene in the water, which I did not like that. I thought that was forced.
Okay.
There was a lot of
just to have like an action beat, there was
just too much of just, you know, dismissing the opponent. Step up, you're gone. Step up, you're gone. You know what? To Rob from wrestling, like, you know, finger poke of death. Like there was just there was like, it was just, there were the opponents were too easy. Granted, you know, he is a massive individual, but he's just kind of brushing them aside, and there's nothing more.
It was like it's like just a quick comment. It's like in the Royal Rumble when someone comes in and clears house and they just throw people over the top rope without any like any resistance.
Correct. Yeah. To stick with the wrestling, you know what, you need to reset. Someone comes in, clears house, and then the new opponents come in. There was a lot of that, and it wasn't just with the male. The female, she did a lot of that too. She wasn't as a big offender, but that whole scene, if you had just, you know, it didn't need to be that big. You were trying to establish something, which I actually felt it was a little lost on it, where they were trying to get you to understand why the villagers were siding with the villains of the film.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that you didn't need to do that, and you could have shortened the movie and tightened up the whole story if you just eliminated a lot of that.
I think it was an interesting setup, though. I liked how they created this sort of almost like they were like trapped, right? Like it was like almost impossible to get out of. So I liked how they set them up in this situation, and they were like in this desperate situation. So like that creates for some interesting interactions between the characters, and we basically had almost like three different factions in a sense. We had like, you know, I'm using finger quotes, the good guys, bad guys, and then the people caught in the middle, right, who are just trying to reclaim their city. So, you know, I think that there was an interesting dynamic between the three. And the only thing for me, I think one of the other things that bothered me a little bit is that the chain of command for the you know, for the bad guys wasn't really clear, and then they introduced Biggie,
new character.
At the end when they had been building up to him. And actually for a while I thought the other guy was Biggie.
Me too.
Because they just kept mentioning Biggie, and I thought people just called him another name or something like that at first. So that to me wasn't totally clear. I mean, that's, you know, that's whatever. That's it, maybe an oversight on my part. But the chain of sort of like antagonistic command didn't really make much sense to me. And then we get this big antagonist sort of near the end who we haven't seen yet. And I'm like, okay, like I get, you know, he is the main antagonist here, but why do we care about this guy when we don't know anything about him really, except for hearing his name, Biggie, you know? I'm
going to agree with you a little bit and maybe try to explain a little bit at the same time.
Sure,
the lack of, you know, it wasn't clear that there was who the end boss was throughout this movie, and it was just kind of thrown upon you. But also with the leaving it kind of confusing, I felt was maybe a little intentional to kind of say that this although they are organized, they are disorganized at the same time. This group of villains, where it's maybe clear to them, but it's not clear to anyone else looking from the outside as to the chain of command.
Yeah, and that's probably a good point, and it could be why. But yeah, I thought Biggie Chen was an interesting character, and we kept hearing his reputation preceded him because we kept hearing his name come up, and then when we finally saw him, we actually didn't even really know that it was him. It just we assumed it was, right. So that was the only thing. And I mean, to Aries' point earlier, I think this film is just trying to rely on realism a little bit, and obviously they're not going to necessarily know who Biggie Chen is, so why would the viewer know? And we are sort of unraveling this. It's not really a mystery. It's definitely not a mystery story, but this chain of command. Who's Judas? Who tipped who off, and all that. So there is a little, a lot of that going on, of unknowns of who's who and who's ordering who around. So in a sense, I get that. It wasn't really like incredibly bothersome to me, but it just would have been one of those things if it was a little bit more clear, even if it was an early scene where we saw Biggie Chen in an earlier scene and establish a chain of command. Maybe that would have helped for me. But I mean, honestly, it didn't really take away because this movie's about the action, and I thought, aside from some of the execution of some of the choreography, I thought Ann Curtis's character was pretty fucking badass in this. Like she really handled a gun, and I believed it. Like that's one of the things about this that I really bought into was her handling of the gun and her playing Mannequin. I thought that she just kind of owned this. So aside from some of the hand-to-hand stuff where I feel the execution wasn't necessarily there, I believed her as this badass character. And obviously she was sort of torn, or she had this inner turmoil because of what happened to her last crew that she ran with, So I thought that they sold that fairly well. I thought she was good in this role. Carlitos, do you know, because they seem to, like, she's top billed, and it says, her name's at the top of the poster. Do you know anything about Ann Curtis besides this?
Yeah, I wanted to jump on the Ann Curtis thing. This is her first action role.
Okay.
In the Philippines, she's a top actress, mostly known for like romantic films, romantic thrillers, romantic comedies, romantic dramas. I also know she hosts a daytime talk show there too. I'm not quite sure what it's called. Yeah, which I always thought was strange because it's like I'm thinking daytime talk show, and I'm thinking maybe somebody from like Today or something, or it's like what
something.
Kelly. It's like if Kelly Ripa decided to do an action film all of a sudden.
Yeah,
just thinking it from that perspective.
Ellen DeGeneres in Speed 3.
Yeah, but I think one of the best strengths of this film, at least for me, is Ann Curtis. She, like you said, she owned the role. I do know she had to learn, I want to say Eskrima, but I think it's under the different name. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it's a Filipino martial art, usually with sticks, but she didn't really use a whole lot of
Raven Shadow knows all about Eskrima.
Yeah. What do you know about Eskrima?
Your favorite Dick uses them, Raven Shadow.
Oh, fucking Dick loves the Eskrima sticks.
But yeah. So I think she definitely worked hard to do this role, and I think she was a very good in the role, like you said. Like she did sell the character very well. I thought her performance was really good. In fact, I thought many of the performances were really good. Even Brandon Vera, who's a mixed martial artist, I mean, I think he did a pretty good job. Just he didn't act a lot, but it didn't require him of that. But he didn't feel like whatever scene it is where he had to actually act, it wasn't amateurish. It was just
he just sold the badass like character really well. I mean, obviously in real life he is a badass, but he sold it really well. And I thought that him and Ann Curtis's character really like had a good sort of dynamic. Like I feel like it was almost like a yin yang, like where they were like both these fucking badass forces of like a different sort. He was more physical and she was more, while she did have some physical aspect to her, it was more about the
just the tactical.
Yeah, tactical gunplay with her. Yeah. So I thought it was a good sort of even balancing act between the two characters.
Well, I would agree too. I mean, Filipino Kelly Ripa, fucking. But that's true. Like, I mean, like, I can't fight or carry a gun, but I would think if you're going to be at that level in the service, you would have to be able to use the equipment correctly, right? That would be the most important thing, is using the equipment correctly. And I bought her like I buy fucking Keanu Reeves doing John Wick shit.
Yeah.
We've all seen the fucking videos of him like practicing John Wick in the backyard or whatever the fuck. But I like that. I like the premise. I liked the opening interrogation scene. And when we see Filipino Kelly Ripa not wanting
ripping it up,
not giving a fuck. And even the stuff where like, you're not a jinx. You know, listen, hey, your team fucking got fucked up, but you're part of this team now. Be part of this team.
Yep.
You know, I liked that with like the leader. I forget his name.
Oh God, I forgot his name too.
Yeah.
But I like the dynamic. Essentially, this is a air quotes raid gone wrong, right? They're gonna do trying to bust a drug dealer.
Yep.
The drug dealer figures out that hey, we get a lot of fucking guys around.
Yeah.
You know, what the fuck?
It was this tangled web, and then we find out later on when we talk to Big Chen that it sounds like sometimes they plan these busts like around us. You know, like there's just money going around in every direction. It was, you know, so I don't know who actually knew about this bust ahead of time, but yes, it was kind of a tangled web.
Right, and that scenario, that's gonna be how people fucking live, right? So once again, whether that was a set or an actual thing, it had to have been a lot of fun to play on when they jumped down.
Oh,
some of the, like that'd be like that's a fucking play set. If you were an actor, it'd be a lot of fun, even in the rain and shit. MZ would love it because he would suffer for his art. It was raining out, but like I like the fact that, and this is probably true in real life, you know, the people can't get involved or they'll be killed. You know, you get these shitty neighborhoods where everyone knows who the fucking drug dealers or the bad people are, but if they speak out against it, they're going to be in the dirt. You know, so on one hand, it made sense that the people would side with the bad, air quotes, bad guys to get this element out. And people that might try to help them were like, how are you going to help us? I can give you this phone, but what happens when you leave? I'm paraphrasing, but like, yeah, no. And they close the door on them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you had the two different you know, sides of the people that lived there. The ones that were just indifferent. They just leave me alone. I don't want to be involved. I just want to live my life. And then the people that really just wanted to side with the side that was winning to make it all better. That was their ultimate goal. I am going to stand with the side that is winning to make this stop.
Well, there was this. I think the residents of the slum and the drug dealers, they had this agreement. And when the cops came in, that's when that agreement got disrupted. So I think that was the reason why you see the residents going after the cops as well.
Oh, you saw them go after the cops, but you actually see some of them side with the cops at certain times.
Oh, yeah.
They see the power shift.
Right. Yeah, they're not bad. Like, they probably, you know, the drug dealers, yeah, they want them out, but this is what they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And having cops come in, that's when shit is disrupted. And obviously that's what happened. So,
and it's jumping ahead, but I love the line when the relative of the survivor, well, that's the wrong word, but like someone who he lost somebody in this. He's like, I'm sick of your fucking politics. Fuck you, both sides.
Yeah.
Not against.
One thing that's interesting, I'm just looking at Ann Curtis's filmography, and apparently she was the English lead commentator on a WWE Hell in a Cell Fallout after show in 2018.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
How fucking weird is that? Like, she did one episode. Like, was it a tryout or was she filling in for somebody? It's just really bizarre.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, have you noticed that Brandon Vera was using a lot of wrestling moves in his fight scenes?
He was, yeah.
He did a rock bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he did either a pile driver or a shoulder breaker. I wasn't quite sure because the shot was from
behind,
shooting from his back.
Yeah. I think it was either like It looked like almost like a Tiger Driver 95, where it's kind of like a power bomb, but you drop someone on their neck basically, and that's kind of what it looked like from behind. But yeah, I did actually notice that, and I thought that was kind of a nice little tribute there.
Yeah, nice little touches.
Yeah. Raven, are you mimicking that move? And
I could never do it or take it, but goddamn, that fucking sounds a power bomb to a fucking, what'd you say, a neck breaker?
Well, no, like the Tiger Driver that I'm talking about was basically you take a Tiger Driver style power bomb and just drop, and you get dropped on your neck.
So you couldn't take that; you would die.
No, yeah.
Apparently legal in a lot of leagues. Apparently, if it's a name.
So yeah, but I think overall, like, there was some really impressive action, and even like I mean, you called it earlier, Carlitos. This was filmed really well, and I think that they did a nice variation with some of the shots. We get some close-up shots. We get some drone shots, like from high above.
That drone shot was impressive.
Yeah, yeah. There
with
was
the dead bodies.
Yeah. At the end, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, at the end.
There was a couple drone shots. The one where Brendan Vera's character was working through the kind of like the alleyway. They did kind of a drone shot of that. So there was some cool shots in this for sure. I think they were. I mean, it actually makes more sense now that I know that Ann Curtis is not an action star or not really trained in this, because they definitely were hiding some of her sort of limitations, yes, with the editing. And see, that's the thing that really kind of bugs me about it was actually like, if you guys remember, I think it was Batman Begins was the first time I noticed this. They do these really tight action shots where it's just like you see the faces and then you kind of see like fists going, but you don't really see anything connecting. You can tell they're fighting, but you're not really seeing what's going on. Like, there was one scene in Batman Begins that, like, it was on the train, I believe, or something like that, and I think that was the movie. But anyways, it just was like, I just can't deal with these close quarters, highly edited action sequences. And that was, as you mentioned, as we live in a post-raid world, so to speak, you kind of can't do that anymore if you want your action to look good. And, I felt like they were able to I think that's the frustrating thing about this, is they were able to let some of it play out, and some of the scenes they didn't, and they kind of backed away and edited it like a little bit more choppy. And so now it actually makes sense. Now that I know that Ann Curtis isn't a trained fighter, before this anyway, she trained for the role, but she's not a trained fighter, that it makes a little bit more sense that they were hiding some of her inability there. So,
one scene that I love that stands out to me is that I actually thought that was done pretty well, at least, and even in terms of the fighting, is the fight in the alleyway with the metal song playing in the background.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yep.
Yeah, that's a fun scene. I kind of go back and rewind that scene just to see it again. That's the kind of the fun stuff that I like. It's kind of out of nowhere in the context of the whole movie. It's just, okay, let's play this metal crossover punk song. It's just like, yeah, and then just everybody just goes at them, and they're using umbrellas and hubcaps and pots and pans to fight him.
That actually, like, that's for me. Was that about halfway through?
Yeah, I was halfway through.
Yeah. That's when it picked.
Go ahead.
That's when it just started to pick up for me. Like, not that it was slow or I was not enjoying it, but that's when it really picked up, and I was like, okay, I can get on board. Like, I really dug that scene too, actually. So, all right, well, we should wind this down. We're getting a little late here. So, if there's anything else you guys wanted to say about any specific action scenes or anything like that, feel free to do it in your verdict. But let's go ahead and make it official here.
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether this flick was a trick or a treat. Any final thoughts? Let's start with Michael Ravenchetto.
Yo, it's always a treat for me to check out these like hyperkinetic, just action pictures. And maybe because it's so few and far between, but I love it. I mean, we definitely name dropped like Comes For Us, The Raid, whatever the fuck, all kinds of stuff. But it's been a while since we saw something, especially after the Fabric movie, which I did really enjoy.
Phantom Thread or In Fabric?
Yeah,
okay,
Fabric
Thread.
movie.
The Fabric movie.
Yeah,
Michael Ravenshaw, Trick or Treat Radio.
I liked the movie, okay? But it was nice to get some fucking, craziness. I like the plot. I like the characters. I had a lot of fun with this. Could it have shaved off maybe 15, 20 minutes? Yeah, that's fair. But overall, I like the kinetic action. I like the actors. I thought the violence was great. Could nitpick it. I mean, it's is it The Raid? Well, no. Did they watch The Raid? Probably.
Did they watch it?
Probably did. On the set, someone had it on DVD in the back. But no, man, Khalida, thank you. It's on Netflix. What the fuck are you gonna do? You're not gonna buy a new streaming service. You're not gonna wait till the fucking 100 things fucking drop on Disney Plus next year. Enjoy it, man. It's fucking nuts. It's fucking silly. So treat.
All right, Aries.
Yeah, this movie was definitely a lot of fun. There was a lot going on in this movie. I love the training aspect in the beginning where you saw them going through there to practice their skills, and you've picked up on a lot of little things about the characters in this, and it played out as the movie went on. It was weird for me as beyond the training sequence and before the movie kicked into high gear, I actually got a little bit of a vibe of a heist movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because you're watching cops, with the spying on the criminals. And I'm like, why am I feeling this is a heist movie as this is playing out? And it's not a bad thing, but as the movie picks up, that goes away. And then you're into this action movie and it plays out so well. And in this shanty village where I believe this was a real village. Like, I don't think they created this because it was just too vast, and they probably throw these people a couple of bucks and let them, film there and then rebuilt them for them. But it was just this maze of madness that was going on, and you didn't know what was around any corner. And the tension that was involved in this was great. My big problem with this, I already stated, was it got too big with that fight at the end where they didn't need that because this movie wasn't that. This movie was very confined throughout the whole movie with their fighting, and then they tried to make it too big at that point, and that was where they failed. But beyond that, this movie is a treat to watch. Check this out. This is a treat. Check it out.
All right, Carlitos. I think we know, but once again, let's make it official.
Yeah. At least as far as Raven, all the points that you guys pointed out in this review, I completely agree. It is a bit overlong. Fight choreography isn't that great, but like I said, it's the other aspects about this film that bring it up for me. Maybe I don't know if it's quite to the level of The Raid, but like it's just about there. But like the cinematography, a lot of direction, the look of it, the style, the actors are. Like I said, I think Anna Curtis is quite excellent in it, and but yeah, I enjoyed it. It did feel like it was going on too long. This third time I watched, I was like, man, I still got how long? Oh my god, I still got 30 minutes left.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. But yeah, this is. I haven't seen too many Filipino movies, despite being born there, but this is probably my favorite so far as ever, I will say. But like, yeah, it's a treat. Definitely go see it. It's on Netflix. I think it was even on Prime, but for free. But I'm not sure now. But check it out. Yeah, treat.
All right, and for me, this is also a treat. I dug this, and like I said, it wasn't a perfect action film, but in a world where, you know, we've seen the Raid 2, there isn't a lot of action, like the sprawling, like really visceral action, and we got that in The Night Comes for Us, and I think that this definitely delivers on that. It is. I mean, I'm not saying this is as good as The Night Comes for Us. That to me is that's like the pinnacle of my fucking action. That is like, give me that every day of the week and I will fucking eat it up. But this is also quite good. And it is, as Ari said, kind of a bit of a more realistic take on it. And, you know, I did enjoy that aspect of it. And, you know, there's some really great stuff that happens in this. It can be hyper violent, like we talked about. There's a decapitation, you know, so it does get hyper violent, but
very stabby.
Yeah, very stabby. But a lot of the hand-to-hand stuff left a little bit to be desired for me, especially when it involved Ann Curtis's character. The Brandon Vera stuff I thought was better. Obviously, he's a fighter. That's what he does for a living. You know, so I think just knowing what it feels like to actually be able to hit someone and take a punch, I feel like, you know, you kind of know what to expect a little bit more. So nothing against Ann Curtis. I thought she was good in the role. I liked her acting ability in it, and I thought she played the character really well. But yeah, some of the action was not quite up to par, but some of the other stuff was good, and I think it had some really memorable scenes. So this, if you're starving for an action film, I definitely would check out BuyBust if you've never seen it. It's on Netflix. Give it a look. So, all right, well, that is going to wrap up our discussion of BuyBust. And we do have a few voice messages to get to. You good to hang out for the voice messages, Carlitos?
Oh, yeah, I'm here for the long haul.
Awesome,
I don't have to work
man.
until Sunday.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. All right. So just wanted to double check. But so as I mentioned, next week we're doing, once again, December double feature Cram Jam. We were going to do Castle Freak on Shudder, the remake, and also... Oh, you didn't hear this, Raven Shadow. You took off.
We're really fucking doing a remake?
Yeah, we're doing the remake. What, you sad about that?
Yeah. Why don't we?
You know what? Quit your whining. You weren't here. you missed your opportunity to veto it. So, fuck off.
Carlito.
Why don't you want to see the remake?
I don't know. We saw the first one, man.
Well,
I heard it's quite different.
There you go, Raven Shadow. Quite different. But Raven Shadow, you like Joe Manganiello, right?
I don't know who that is.
Are you kidding me?
It's a handsome guy, the gray beard from the.
Deathstroke.
You're not talking about me here.
Deathstroke, man.
Yeah.
Deathstroke.
Yeah, he was there. He was in the True Blood.
Yeah.
He was in the Mike, right?
You like the True Blood, right?
He plays D&D, and he's married to the amazing super hottie from the Al Bundy new show.
The Al Bundy new show.
Oh my God. Okay. One is not Al Bundy. Two, it's not a new show. It's off the air already.
No. It's on Netflix.
Wow.
Well, Sophia Vagaga.
Vagaga.
Lady
Vagaga.
Look, you were better off with the Al Bundy show. Okay.
You called me out and embarrassed me in front of Carlos, so thank you very much.
Also, Raven Shadow, he was Flash Thompson in 2002 Spider-Man.
He was Flash Thompson in 2000. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Why is it funny?
Not like funny, haha, but like it's odd.
Oh my God. Yes, his wife is Sofia Vergara.
Yeah.
Say that again, Raven Shadow. What's her name?
Sophia.
So, anyways, he's in a movie called Arch Enemy, and we're gonna check that out. So there you go, Raven Shadow. You get Joe Manganiello.
Joe Montana.
No, Joe Montana. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
So we're gonna check that out, and it's from the producers. Not that this really means anything, but from the producers of Mandy.
Ooh.
So.
Treat.
You don't know anything about it. All right, so we're doing Castle Freak remake and Arch Enemy. So, all right, now we got some voice messages. Let's hit it, and we got two from our boy First Time Mike, fellow Patreon supporter. So let's check in with our boy and see what he has to say.
Family, this is first time Mike. I have a confession to make, just like Usher. Is that the person that they talked about blacking out during the blackout tapes last Saturday? That was yours truly. I do have a valid excuse. I had been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't really have a nap during the day because I had some other family functions, and there was a little baking involved and some dinner. And the usually before something like this, I would actually, relax a bit because, how a busy day goes. And so the Patreon discussion went about 2 hours, which is true. So I go, have myself a little drink. And my setup is I have a chair and I have my my iPad, which has a pretty strong microphone. And that's how I've been doing it. So I had a table set up, so it's pretty much not that far. And when I got into the blackout tape discussion, there was a discussion going full blast. I had a word or two in there, but I wasn't really going so far. And then I realized, next thing I know, it's like about 1 or 2 in the morning, and I still see there's a couple people there. So I'm like, hey, people are singing. I say goodnight, everybody, and all of a sudden, Creepy Girl's like, "Hey, I think somebody woke up." So I realized that, holy shit, I've probably been snoring through this whole time. So I apologize to Riku and Dynamo and Creepy Girl and everybody. Michael Ravenshaw is an excellent host, and Mars made me feel a lot better by telling some stories afterwards. But I apologize for it was not the quality of the conversation at all. I love the conversations during the blackout tapes. And the first one, me and Raven Shadow were going back and forth until I had to call it around midnight because I had to go to work the next day. So
right, buddy.
I apologize. I'll try to get a nap next time during the blackout tapes. But this is first time, Mike, because confession is good for the soul. But have a good night, everybody.
Well, honestly, first time, Mike, that wasn't necessary. Raven Shadow, I'll let you do this. You're the fucking the grand poobah of the blackout tapes.
Brother, we love you. You know this. There's no shame in the game, man. We went to fucking 3 in the fucking morning, Eastern fucking Standard, whatever the fuck time. All right, listen. It's all good, brother. Don't even sweat it, man. Like I was fucking swaying for a little while. My phone died twice that night. We were going so fucking long. So don't even fucking sweat it, brother. We love you so much. And when my book comes out, I will have I will have a fucking passing out on the phone story that is really embarrassing. So don't get it all, man. We love you, brother. We'll see you next time, but don't even sweat it, dude.
Yeah.
You're the man.
Seriously, like we're all friends here. I mean, that no one drew. You go ahead.
It's called the fucking blackout tapes.
Exactly. That's the whole fucking point. That's why, like, it's he should wear it like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
He didn't get any any Sharpie dicks drawn on his face or anything like that. Everyone's respectful,
Right. Ain't no thing, man. So definitely, get your vaccine quick, and we'll see.
Get your vaccine quick. I mean, it ain't a party until somebody passes out, right?
That's true. Yeah.
All good, brother.
So yeah, not even necessary first time, Mike. Obviously it's always a blast having you in there, and hopefully that obviously that's not going to make you not come to the next one. I mean, because they're always a blast, and we love having you there, and we love talking to you, buddy. So, but hey, as he mentions, confession is good for the soul, Raven Shadow. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, for the most part.
What are you ready to confess? Are you going to confess something right here on the air?
So many things, John. Once again, we're saving. It's a Patreon shit. All right. It's a really good fucking story.
All right, we'll wait for the memoir. Do you know what your memoir is going to be called yet?
What's some things Ollie and I are working on in the back.
Ollie and I are working on.
Exceeding expectations. should have happened before. I mean, I don't know. We're working on some stuff.
As expected.
As expected.
What is underachieving? Something like that.
A matter of time, I suppose. I probably I earned everything I got.
All right.
Is that bad? Maybe. That lump is cancer.
Oh my God. All right. All right. Enough about that. We'll wait for the book. But First Time Mike, no sweat, man. We're going to hear from First Time Mike again in a moment. But we have a film review from an old friend.
Trick or Treat Radio. What you got going on? How much sexy can you fit into one raving chateau? Trick or Treat Radio. What you got going on? I think Aries Beard is getting pretty scared. I'm gonna be quiet for Monster Zero gets yelled at, but Wolfie is the best producer around. It's too bad he doesn't have a Star Wars show. Hello. I believe Carlito is on tonight.
Yeah.
Hi. You guys are talking about two great flicks tonight, and one of which I wanted to put in, and it's BuyBust. BuyBust is a really great action movie. One of my favorite set pieces I've seen in a long time. Initially, the hand-to-hand combat, it took a minute for me to kind of like get used to it, because it kind of... I had watched it in proximity to watching a film called Jailbreak, which probably has some of the best choreography I've seen and, had seen that year for sure. But BuyBust, they really committed to the way they did the action. It didn't seem like they were doing anything because they had to. It seemed like that's kind of the way the action was at that time. So yeah, I thought that it was really, really cool. And I think that, not to get too political, but there's something to be said for the fact that, in a weird way, it was sort of prophetic about a lot of things going on in the world. It was very easy to turn on certain entities and stuff like that when people are angry and afraid. So I really dug on it. I haven't finished Hausu yet, but man, is it beautiful so far. Haunting. It lived up to the, to its reputation. It's a kick in the yam bags of your brain. And when you kick a snake in the yam bags, you got it by the balls. Is that how you say it, Monster Zero? Anyway, love you guys. Peace in the Eastern Grafton. Bye.
All right. Well, thanks, Mars. I know that he was actually repping that on this show a couple years ago when he saw it. So,
I had a few words with exchange with Mars on BuyBust.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember.
And then also Jailbreak was actually another movie I was juggling around as a pick as well. It's fight choreography is probably on par with The Raid, or at least The Raid. That movie's more Raid than this movie is. It's basically Raid in a jail, or a prison rather. But I decided not to go with that because I thought BuyBust had a lot more to offer in terms of a discussion. Jailbreak's more just a series of fights in a jail. It's still fun, and you should watch that too. But
yeah, I'll definitely have to. I mean, you both spoke highly of it, so that's one that definitely am curious about as well. So awesome, Mars. Good to hear from you, buddy. I hear from him once a week on the Star Wars show that he said that we don't have. But all right, we got one more voice message.
I mean,
go ahead.
Well, the action in Star Wars has been so subpar on The Mandalorian. It's been some subpar. The last two episodes have been like Full House. I listened to the program, and I enjoyed
Mars didn't like the action in the Carl Weathers episode.
He did not.
No.
That's fair. I disagree. But no, I think
Yeah, I mean, the action last two has been obviously stepped it up a little bit. So,
Rodriguez, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, we got one more, and this is a second from First Time Mike.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. I've been waiting for this one. The review of Hausu. I am very curious on, especially for Aries and Raven Shadow, what they have to say about this movie, because Hausu is one of those movies that I don't have in my collection, but I've rented several times. It's a strange fever dream of a movie. It's a blend of Evil Dead horror meets Japanese commercial meets strange Japanese ghost story meets, evil cat meets just madness all around. The first time I heard about Hausu was in magazines back in the day, like Asian Trash Cinema and Stomp Tokyo, and in the catalogs that you used to get where you would order from such places like Video Search of Miami and other gray market videos sales, where that was the way back in the day where that's how you got a hold of a lot of movies from other countries that weren't released in the usual video fare. It was only just basically starting the more legitimate releases in the early to mid 90s when I started really checking these movies out. When they have Hausu, the movie came out in the Criterion Collection. I rented it from the local library, and I had read descriptions of what happens in this movie, but it does not prepare you for the visual onslaught that you get from this movie. This movie is not for the faint of heart. If you are very serious about your movies and you don't have a lot of disbelief in a movie, I don't know how much you're going to like this movie, because this Hausu takes your what you're seeing and dashes it to the ground and kicks it around and then cuts it into like a little paper dolls that it just expands and expands, and it just gets weirder from there. It can go from just ridiculous comedy bit to sheer terror in a snap of a finger, and it does it so well, and it's the juxtapositions are so jarring that it just makes it a fascinating movie to watch, and I give it a treat. I recommend renting it, checking it out at least once, because it's a movie experience that I think everybody should check out once, because it's just a strange, fun movie that I do enjoy. This is First Time Mike, wishing everybody all the best, especially after you guys up north got the nor'easter. I also like to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, which is starting on December 10th. So if you celebrate that, happy Hanukkah to you. And just wishing everybody the best. This is First Time Mike, rambling on as usual. Good night.
Never rambles on. I always love hearing from him, and loved getting his thoughts on Hausu as well.
Or just come over, dude. You'll get the vaccine. Come on.
So some great thoughts about Hausu and some great insight as well. First Time Mike. So we appreciate that, and I know you have been mentioning this film in regard to us watching it. So I'm glad you were able to send in a voice message. So thanks again, buddy. Always great to hear from you, my friend. All right, so we're going to wind things down here because we are past 11. It is almost Carlito's birthday on the East Coast anyways, and you got a few hours. Carlitos, you got any plans? You're going to play... did you get Cyberpunk 2077?
I did, but I might want to wait until some more time passes.
Do you get it on PS4?
For that? I did. I'm a little afraid to put in my PS5 because of the glitchiness of it. But I heard it was crashing PS5s too, so I was like, oh, I don't know, man. They still need to patch that thing up a little bit. So
yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll play it when I did get it today actually, but
cool.
I'll play it when I get a chance, certainly.
Is that you got any big plans for the birthday then, or just kind of taking it easy?
Ah, shoot, I can't go anywhere with all this lockdowns.
Well, of course, yeah.
Not really. I mean, when you get to this age, you just kind of like, yeah, it's my birthday.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
Well, but I got 2 of my presents, with a new president and a PS5, so I'm good. So, I can't ask for anything more. So, but.
Awesome. Well, happy early birthday, and
thank you.
We'll start wrapping up here. But is there anything else, Carlitos? Obviously, when you get the podcast up and running, we'll definitely plug it on the air. But is there anything else you want to mention before we say goodbye?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram. I'll just probably do some announcements there. It's
cool.
XOMBITOS _way, Zambitos way. Or if you're part of the group and you see my name in the friend suggestions, go ahead and friend me and I'll respond to it. That's how I met some friends.
Yeah, it's a great community, and obviously, I know.
So I'm not it's a great community.
So
and you don't have to worry about political posts from me and all that stuff. I just post jokes and try to make people laugh. That's all I do. and post about stuff that I doing. But other than that, that's about it. So you won't see any of that. So, but other than that, yeah, that's it for now.
Yeah. So if any of you guys want to, go ahead and follow Carlitos on social media, and on behalf of everyone else, obviously you guys say your thing when we go around and say goodbyes. But on behalf of on everyone, including MZ, who's not here to say it, we appreciate your support so much, Carlitos, and obviously just your friendship over the years, man. And just love when we get that voicemail. How you guys doing? Just hearing that always makes me happy. So it's been awesome getting to know you, my friend, and I can't wait to see what you do with the podcast. And
feelings mutual. So
yeah, man, it's awesome, and you picked some great films and some great discussion. So
I apologize, Aries. For that.
He's angry.
No. I mean, I appreciate the apology.
To be honest, it's about around what I expected. I didn't expect Aries to hit it that much. I didn't expect him to like it though. but it's fine. It's okay.
You know what I mean?
Definitely not a film for everybody. So.
Well, you know what? You obviously weren't shooting for me to enjoy your movies because you picked 2 movies with subtitles.
I could have picked Butt Crack. I made a joke to that to Johnny with that.
Yep.
But
you would have been MZ's favorite person if you did.
Although it would have, I did push for it on the. Yeah,
you did. Yeah, I
wanted the Monster Theater. Yeah.
I was like, what? It's actually not that bad, but it's. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but not the masterpiece he thinks it is. But it's not the most terrible thing I've seen. So.
All right. Well, let's go around and say goodbye, starting with Aries.
All right. Goodbye, Carlitos. It was a joy having you on the show. Look forward to next year when you do it again.
Raven Shadow.
Yo, Bambaleo, brother, man. It was a blast. I know we're a few moments away, at least in East Coast time, from your birthday. So happy birthday. And we'll be at the same age. This time frame, at least for me, for a couple more weeks. I love your contributions. I love hanging out with you, brother. And I think what we need to do is once this is over, the Trick or Treat Radio crew are gonna fly out. We're gonna do like a California week.
Jesus. Are you paying for it? What the fuck?
No, I got a couple of dollars.
I'll take you to Santa Cruz. Show you where Us was filmed.
Yeah.
And
the last
boys.
I
got Frisco.
We'll do we'll do fucking that. We'll go
take you to Rasputin Records. Yeah, that'd be great.
The Lost Boys, fucking
the Lost Boys. Yeah,
Johnny.
Yeah.
Sudden
Impact.
Let's book it now. I'm sure if the flights are cheap. So
if we book them, we buy them now. We'll be straight. I mean, you're in like 2025, right?
Yeah. and then maybe we can afford it then.
It's true. Fucking save your shekels or whatever the fuck. But no, man, big ups yourself, brother. Love it. Totally down. Thank you for hanging out on the blackout tapes and everything else, man. And I really enjoyed watching the pictures. So until next time, live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode 437 of Trick or Treat Radio. Once again, huge thanks to Carlitos for hanging out with us, for supporting us, for picking some great fucking films to talk about. And also, Carlitos, make sure you tell Asia Trick or Treat Radio says hello. We'll send a supply of bananas.
You got something to say? No? Something? Come on. No? All right, she's too shy.
Banana
Yeah, we'll send a bunch.
Banana figures?
We'll send you a bunch of bananas.
Oh, we forgot about the bananas in Hausu. The guy who turned into bananas.
Oh yeah. We didn't talk about that.
Oh man. Oh well.
Well, next time you're on Raven Shadow, we'll get Raven Shadow banana to eat on the air. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for us. So, huge thanks to Carlitos, and hope MZ gets better. Hopefully, it's just a seasonal fucking thing, not anything worse. So,
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. So that is going to do it. So thanks all for everyone who tuned in live, hung out with us on the live show, and everyone who sent in the voice messages. Great to hear from First Time Mike and Marsman. And everyone who's going to check this out on the podcast, we appreciate all of you. But especially we appreciate our Patreon supporters, including Carlitos, who helped make this one possible. So thanks, Carlitos, and we'll see you guys next week.